Man, I've been through shit in this industry that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. There were days like get up early, put on a face, go to site, tell everyone what they need to do, everything's rosy, jump in my truck. I was lost, mate. And I just got to a point where I was like, I have 2 young kids, an incredible wife, like I've built up a good business. Like it can't end like this. Everything in our life is an outcome of the stories we tell ourselves. You want to keep bettering yourself. And once you get to that point, there's no stopping it. Like you can be whatever you want to be.
That decision to become a different Duayne.
If we give an excuse, that's basically giving us permission to not be successful. Really want to break that just old shit mentality that it's a blokey industry. We don't talk to each other. It's not okay to be vulnerable. Like,
where did you have the realization that that was going on?
When I answered it, I literally got a builder on the other end of the line just sobbing, telling me that, mate, like now I had multiple wives reach out and say, I've got my husband back. When a builder is on top of his own personal mindset and beliefs and stories, and then that flows through to him running a good business, and then he understands that he doesn't have to do what the industry tells him. He can build better than code. He can get paid for what he's worth. He can.
And at first I was like, that's very honest, about
Not only will we save people's lives, change their businesses, I believe we'll solve all the housing problems that we're having in this country.
Welcome to the Inspired Builders Podcast, your source for game-changing conversations with Australia and New Zealand's leading builders and industry experts. Each week, we deliver real stories and proven strategies from those who've been in your shoes. Ready to build something remarkable? Let's dive in.
Big thank you for coming on.
No worries.
It's a chat.
It's been a little while in the making. So.
Definitely.
Yeah. I've been hearing your name for at least 4 to 5 years. And then just started seeing some of the stuff you're doing. And what I liked was always big on educating, which is awesome. Really, really cool. Every now and again, I still come across guys I'll chat with and they haven't heard about you. And so I was really excited to get you on here so the guys that listen to us can meet you. But to give some context to your backstory, and we're going to jump into a whole few things today. Can you walk us through and you and I have talked about this actually a few times off camera, in terms of a typical builder that you often will help. And you know that mold, you know what that looks like. Talk us through how you entered originally into the construction industry. What did that look like for you?
Where I started with apprenticeship?
Yeah,
all the way back.
And why did you go into apprenticeship? Why not school? Why not,
Oh, mate, look, you guys know I can talk underwater about this. I love it, but I'll try and keep it short. So look, I hated school, with a passion. Wasn't too bad at primary school. High school, I'm not sure why. I just absolutely hated it. I couldn't stand being there. Had a lot of anxiety. A lot of depression around it. I would just, I remember year 8 just giving my parents hell. I just wouldn't get out of the car. I just hated it. And then that made it worse because in the days that I would go to school, I'd get teased a lot because I was always the guy that wasn't there. But I just didn't, I talk about this all the time. People give me shit about it. I'm sure I'm dyslexic. I'm sure I got ADHD, but I've never been tested or anything. I just read books and I know that I've got it. But I just hated reading. I didn't like sitting still. But you stick me out in the paddock and mate, I'd chop trees down and build forts in trees. And we built flying foxes. We built all this shit that I'd just taught myself. I didn't back then we didn't have Google and YouTube and all that stuff. We just did it.
Did you then, let's say in grade 8 already, did you know that as soon as I can, I'm going to get out and do a trade?
I wanted to be a builder. So a carpenter. Okay. I probably didn't know so much a builder, but I definitely wanted to be a carpenter. My great-grandfather was a carpenter. I've heard a lot of stories about him through family. And that's all I wanted to do. And I think I just focused on that so much that I thought school wasn't important or something maybe, but school just was never for me. And I talk about it a lot now. I really do think if someone actually had taken the time to sit down with me and go, righto, Duayne, what's your thoughts? What are you thinking? What do you want to be? And talk me through a builder. But then I think to myself, well, I'm doing what I'm doing now because people don't understand our industry and very, very few people, including associations and industry bodies, don't actually understand how a building business operates. So I do, like, as much as I say, look, if someone has sat me down and said, hey, you need to do this, but then I think, well, anyone sat me down wouldn't have known what to do anyway, so what I needed. But
so
at a bare minimum, I now know that, like, looking back, even right now at the where I'm at in my stage of life, I know, like, I still kick myself a lot because I'm not a good speller, I'm not a good reader. It takes me a long time to write things down, send emails, and I'm hopeless at tech and all that sort of stuff. And so because of that, I definitely used that as an excuse. Like, I was telling myself a shit story for a very long time that was really holding me back.
Why do you think that? Because no doubt you come across that a lot. I know we come across that a lot and have to our story development session can help with that, or recommend books, or working with guys like yourself. What do you think was behind that negative narrative that was stuck there for so long?
Look, I honestly believe, so for anyone that's heard that I'm putting them on my event, the reason I'm putting on this event is to prove exactly what we're talking about now.
Yeah.
Our outcome, everything in our life is an outcome of the stories we tell ourselves. And we all are guilty of falling into the trap that if we give an excuse, that's basically giving us permission to not be successful. And it gives us permission to back off or not achieve what we want to achieve. So, like, I've always had massive ambitions, but I would always get to a point where something would go wrong or something wouldn't quite go my way. And in my mind, I'd just go straight back to, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not educated enough, I didn't do good enough at school, like just all these shit stories. Yeah. And that would give me permission to just get comfortable again for another 6 months or 12 months.
Yeah. Where did you have JP, where did you have the realization that was going on? Like, you were telling yourself these stories. I mean, that's probably further down the track, but where was that? So
one of the guest speakers, or actually multiple of the guest speakers I'm having at my event, I've done a lot of work with them, especially in the last 2 years. But I've actually read a couple of their books, probably back as far as 4 years maybe. And not only them, just other people, like a lot of podcasts and audio books I read, it just all started making sense. Like, everyone is so guilty of just being trapped in their head and, like, just talking shit.
That's right.
And so if you switch off that noise, like, I put it out there all the time. Like, I fight my demons every day, even now. I still tell myself the same shit stories I did 4 years, 5 years, 10, 15 years ago. It's just that there's no excuses anymore. Like, at the end of the day, I'm the only one in control of this. And so if I want a different outcome, I've got to change my story. Like, it's basically that simple.
That's right.
I love that. As you know, that really resonates with us. And we'll definitely dive more into the Level Up experience coming on the 30th of May.
Yeah, be there.
Be there.
Get left behind if you don't show up.
Yeah,
it's going to be epic.
Because this whole conversation so far, that's what I'm doing for the day, because our industry, I just don't see anything that pushes this stuff in our industry. Our industry is so old-fashioned, so broken, and it's really time that we show people, like I've spoken to you guys about, like, my goal for the day is that every person that shows up leaves there believing in themselves, believing in their business, and believing that the industry can change, and we can all be successful. And that isn't going to come from being a better tradie, being a better builder, building a better house. The only way that's going to happen is by working on ourselves. And I really want to break that just old shit mentality that it's a blokey industry, we don't talk to each other, it's not okay to be vulnerable, like, you're this, that, or whatever, if you have tears or you struggle or whatever. Like, man, I've been through shit in this industry that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, but I'm the only one that can sort that out. Like, it doesn't matter how many people I talk to, how many people I tell, how much I whinge about it. Like, I'm the only person that can create a new path for me. And that's what everybody in our industry needs to do. And I firmly believe that if I can get our entire industry believing in that, not only will we change, like save people's lives, change their businesses, I believe we'll solve all the housing problems that we're having in this country.
Connect that last one. I mean, I can make my assumptions as to how those two connect, but how do you see that connection between changing the way that builders approach their headspace, their life, their families, their business, their clients, and how that's going to provide a solution to the housing shortage in Australia?
So with my Live Life Build business now, with Amelia, that we train and coach hundreds of builders across Australia and New Zealand, we know now from everything we've done, like we can give, like we pretty much have, like we can have the ultimate business Bible, like a blueprint that has every system, process, structure, template, document, like everything you need to run the ultimate building business and be very successful. If you're not right, you'll never get that right, because it's not just as simple as filling out, having templates, documents, and going out and running a business.
Yeah.
Like every business is, like I still have the exact same challenges with clients, team, finances, you name it, as I did 5, 10, 15 years ago. The biggest difference, like yes, we have systems and processes that the team follow and we build good culture and all those things, and that's all great, but that only gets you so far. If you don't change your mindset, your leadership, your the stories you tell yourself, like all that other stuff, you're still going to keep going down those rabbit holes and blame the industry, blame the world, blame the government. Like, so I firmly believe that if people in our industry accept that you're allowed to be a bit vulnerable, you're allowed to put your hand up and say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm not an expert, I need help. Spend time and money on yourself, then you run a bit better business. So we know from the data from our members, when they get right, they can easily double, triple, or quadruple their income, their profit, their turnover, because they become more efficient, they handle things differently. To do that, they've generally got to put at least one person in the admin, because that's where most of our industry falls over. But they can do double, triple, or quadruple the work with the similar site team, but by just handling things differently, understanding that there's a solution for every problem, and getting someone on board to help them out with administration. So if we can get every single builder, just imagine if we got every builder doubling their output.
Yeah.
Like that's twice as many houses as we're going to, like.
That's right.
So if we can triple that, if we can quadruple that, like, and not only that, we definitely, it goes far beyond that, because when you start to see it's addictive. Like I'm 100% addicted to it, and so are all of our members. Like when you start to see the cash flow increasing, the profit increasing, the clients becoming happier, the quality of your clients you're working with, all those things start falling into place, it just starts happening by itself. Like all of a sudden your business just is growing, and
all the pieces
and you
start
get
to
so
line.
addicted to that growth and that change that you want to keep bettering yourself. And once you get to that point, there's no stopping it. Like you can be whatever you want to be, you can have whatever you want to have.
Yeah. Maybe this sort of stuff we could talk about all day. So
we love this
I'm
stuff.
glad that we're doing it.
Let's do it, mate.
But let's, in terms of going back a little bit, the mindset you have around that you have today and how you approach things today, you didn't have it when you were going through, I assume not, your apprenticeship. What were some key things that you took away from your apprenticeship?
Look, I can only sit and reflect on that now, like whatever it is, 25 years later, because like I see my apprentices struggle with it now. Like you don't realise at the time, and I actually think this is a huge problem with our world today. Like I thought I wanted to leave and go somewhere else, and it was too hard and wanted to give up, but I kept pushing on. Whereas I see so many people in this day and age that just, they want to be the $1 million builder like 4 years from now, and not put in the hard slog to get through it and figure out this industry, like whether you're a tradie or a builder or a designer or an architect, you cannot acquire all the skills and the knowledge that you need in 4 years or 8 years or 10 years or 15 years. Like every day is a school day. Like for me now, I've been in the industry 30 years this year. But every single day, whether it's, and this is something I think our industry really needs to work on. It's something I'm pushing. Like I'm learning from my apprentices. I'm learning from my carpenters. I'm learning from my supervisor. I'm learning from my wife in the office. Like, you can't just shut your mind off and think that it's my way or the highway, or you can't think that just because I was taught this way, that's the way it always is, or just because I've read this book, that's how it is. Like there's new products coming out every day. There's building codes changing every couple of months now. Like every single day is learning. So like looking back at my apprenticeship, like I definitely hated it. Like for a long time I hated it because the boss just drove me like a dog, or both my bosses. But
and you didn't feel like you were learning what you wanted to learn, or that you needed to learn, or you didn't appreciate the little learnings?
I didn't appreciate it. That was the thing. Okay. Like I don't know, I think it's just human nature. Like you always think you should be further ahead than what you really are. And everyone thinks they're always worth more money than what they are. But look, it's a bigger picture. I think it's very easy for employees, or like perception's huge. Like it's easy to sit back and think, oh shit, the boss is making a fortune. Like why am I getting worked into the ground, or why aren't I getting paid more? And so I had all those same thoughts that everybody else has. And I actually reached out to my first boss. It was a long time, maybe 10 years after my apprenticeship. Touch base, and then we actually went, like I'd just not long had my first kid, and we went and caught up, had some lunch, and I was in tears, man. I was like, man, I appreciate what you taught me.
Wow.
Because I just thought, fuck, it's a job. Like, I always appreciate my job. Like it's something else I talk about a lot. Like I was a guy, and it's my parents instilled it in me. Like I was a guy, and I would love to see the world turn towards this, but why we all should, like at Easter, Christmas, birthdays.
Yes.
We should be giving our bosses a card at the minimum, or a carton of beer or something. Whereas it's always like, so for a start, your boss is already employing you. He's taking a massive risk to put you on. He's teaching you what you need to know so you can go and earn money. And yet employees still expect the boss to give them something. Like it should be the other way around. Like, and that's how I was. Like, I would always give my boss a bottle of rum, like, because I was like, mate, I thank you for my job. Like,
When you caught up with your boss, your old boss, what was one thing that you said like thank you about, or was it in general, or was there one thing that you were like
for pushing me?
Good. So what did that look like?
I thanked him for all the shit that I eventually left for. Like, and that's reality. Like if he hadn't have pushed me and worked me like a dog the way he did, like I shouldn't say like a dog, he pushed me hard.
He pushed you.
And if he hadn't have done that, I wouldn't be where I am now. Like it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And same as like my old man was hard on me growing up, and my uncles. Like that was the thing. When I grew up, it wasn't like everyone looked out for everyone. Like my uncles kicked me up the ass. My granddad kicked me up the ass. Like, and now I thank every single one of them, because that's turned me into who I am now, and it's given me the drive I need to be successful. It's taught me that hard work is the only way to achieve success. Anything in this life that comes as a handout is not worth having.
That's true.
Yeah. And so then if we fast track to starting Pearce Constructions, what you always were going to go, part of this, what I'm hearing so far, this journey of you knew you were always going to become a carpenter, and then obviously you learned about what a builder is, and then moving the goals towards that. Were you straight into starting your own company as soon as you could? Or
so I did 2 years with my first employer. So I did 2 years in a timber yard.
Okay.
That taught me a lot of work ethic as well.
Okay.
I did 2 years with my first boss as an apprentice. I then thought the grass was greener on the other side. I went and worked for a builder that I thought was going to be fantastic. Was a fantastic builder, quality, taught me incredible skills, but again, just pushed me a lot harder, expected a lot of me. So I finished up about 18 months.
Sorry to jump in there. I haven't done a trade.
Yeah.
Often I think I'd like to go back and do a mature age apprenticeship.
Go do it, mate.
We can both do it, JP.
Yeah, that'd be good. We actually had a chat while we were driving down south about what would, the alternative universe question.
Yeah.
If we did it again.
Andre mentioned he's very creative, and he said do apprenticeship carpentry and then enjoy the design and flipping and stuff.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was going on that question. So he drove you really hard. What does that look like when you're an apprenticeship, doing your apprenticeship, you're an apprentice carpenter, someone pushing you,
So
expecting more than you think you could do? What does that look like? Does it feel like?
Well, it's taught me a lot because it's changed the way I run my business now. And again, this has only been the last few years, because for a long time I was just I was made from the way my bosses taught me, and so that's how I run my business. And it took me a long time to realise that was not the way I should have been doing things. So, look, my boss lived up the road from me. So literally I would walk a couple hundred metres to his place. He'd always come out of the office. He'd been up late at night working. He'd be up early doing shit. He was already stressed out by the time I got there at 5:30. 9 to 10, he'd be behind the 8 ball, so I'd be back in the ute into the shed, hooking the trailer up, loading up. Like, he'd have a list, I'd load up gear for the day. If he still wasn't ready, then I would be cleaning the shed, mowing the lawn, like just doing all shit around his house. Yeah. And so I was with him. So he was more of a volume builder back then. And then he had some carpenter crews that did other carpentry work for him. So occasionally him and I would have a job that we would do. So we would do all the framing and everything. But a lot of the time it was following the other carpenter gangs, fixing things up, finishing things off, just a lot of the, like, doing handovers, like making sure the jobs were smick. So, and I just saw his business growing, and him just, like, he lost his passion. He became very angry all the time. Like, when I first started with him, it was like, because we used to ride mountain bikes together and all sorts of things. And so it was always chit chat, and driving to work, it'd be tunes. And like, I was 17 or something. So we'd call in the bottle, he'd give me a few drinks, and we'd drive home. And back in the days when you'd have some beers driving home, but we were like mates. And then as his business, like, he lost his passion, the business took over, and it affected his life. I'm assuming he probably had a bit of depression or something, maybe, but that all stopped. So it went from, like, just loving every minute at work to no conversation in the ute to and from work. He would have shit going wrong in other jobs. So, like, we'd literally go to a job site. It could have been a new slab. We'd quickly flick it all out and unhook the trailer, and then he'd go off to other jobs to sort other shit out and literally just leave me there on my own. And, like, I'd be cutting, like, standing walls, doing everything. Like, I've told plenty of stories where I would clad houses on my own. Like, I'd put soffit sheets in on my own. Like, it was, so I had to come up with all these ways of, like, you guys might not have done soffits, but, like, when we were doing a lot of brick cavity houses, so you had to get your soffit your soffit sheet into the groove in the fascia, and then you had to try and get it into the plastic joiner strip on one end. And sometimes that's hard with two people. So, like, I had to come up with all these ways of, like, having sticks that I would, like, prop one end of the sheet up while I was jiggling the other end with my other hand. And, like, that, I think that's a big reason why I have, like, my back's rooted now. Yeah. But when I say drove me like a dog, like, I had no choice. He was my ride to and from work. So, like, most days, yeah, he would get back to pick me up and with spotlights on, and, like, he would literally have to park the ute at the front of the site with the spotlights on so that we could walk around and pick up all the gear because it was dark. And look, some days, or a lot of the days, it was like, shit, Duayne, you've done really good job. But then, like, if he had a shit day with a client or another job, it was like, me, is this all you got done today? Mm-hmm. And, like, I was busting my balls. Like, a lot of days I wasn't stopping to eat, and it just burnt me out. Mm. And so, yeah, when I say that's, like...
Okay, that's painted a nice clear picture.
It taught me a lot, but But again, looking back now, like that's made me who I am now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I learnt that I could do whatever I wanted. I just had to put my mind to it. Like so many people would have walked off the job and thought, I can't put that Safite sheet in my own, whereas I just made it happen.
Yeah, figured out a way.
Yeah, figured out a way and got it done. And I know that boss, like when I said I was leaving, like he really regretted, like he knew what he'd done and he regretted it, and he was really pissed off that I was leaving. But again, looking back, like I thank him for everything he did, as hard as it was at the time and as frustrated as I got and as much as I got burnt out. It really taught me how to be a good tradesman, how to get shit done, how to think outside the box, which I don't see many people doing these days.
You took obviously a lot of learnings from that, and you mentioned that later on, did you realise that we don't have to do it like that? I don't have to copy what I was taught exactly. There are better ways to do things. I want to understand and get other people to hear, if you can share your business, when you started your business, and what did the early days look like from that? Because the little pieces I've picked up along the way, that also played a big role in shaping why you decided to change things and the way you're doing things, why you decided more people need to learn how to do it better.
Yeah, well, I spent the first 10 to 12 years of my business. So I finished I quit my apprenticeship. I'd had enough. I went and worked for my old boy had a large painting business, still does painting now. I basically went and became a smudger for 18 months. So he was painting units and multi-rise stuff. I would literally just sit on scaffold, slapping a brush away, like just enjoying life. The team would have the tunes on and it was good. Like I was still young. I was only 21 when I finished my time, or just not quite 21. And then the developer that he worked for knew that I'd done my time and just saw that I was a good worker. And he said to me, he offered me some work one day. So it just started from there. And so it really, because of the way that I'd been taught during my apprenticeship and my upbringing, like I just had good work ethic. So I took that opportunity, I ran with that. That lasted about 18 months, 2 years, and then I just kept building up my carpentry business. So, but like to answer your question, I had no clue, mate. I was just doing everything that I'd seen my dad do, uncles in the construction industry, my two employees do, and it was all wrong. So I wasn't paying work cover, I wasn't paying super. I was talking to other trades on site and like sitting around having smoko, because a lot of the contract carpentry work I was doing was on quite big sites, so like 100 townhouses or we're doing big commercial like tilt up industrial parks. So like some smokos, there was 50, 60 blokes sitting around. And so there'd be all these conversations going on about the tax man, or I owed all this tax, and it was all rubbish.
Yeah.
And so I never knew any different. Like I didn't know how to do my taxes properly. I didn't understand super and work cover. Like, so there was always a lot of conversation about trying to screw your employees. Like, they're only worth this much an hour. Oh no, don't pay them that. Like, my accountants tell me to do this, and you get around it. Like just all this shit.
You're getting such a mixed puzzle of information. And
it just got me into a world of hurt, mate, because again, I wasn't like them and just interested in just having a few guys. Like I grew my carpentry business to over 40 carpenters. I think at our peak we had like 48. And that was by the time I was 24, 25. And so my problems escalated. So when you get a workplace and safety officer, walk onto a massive construction site and go and talk to the chippies and like, who's running this show? And they say, go and see that bloke over there, and they come and see me, and I'm 24 years old, and they're like, oh yeah, so how you going? What do you do? I was like, I didn't know. I was naive. Like, yeah, I'm doing all the carpentry. Oh, so these guys are all yours? Yeah, no, they're on mine. Like, they on good rates? Like, yeah, pay this, that. So work cover, super. Like, no, my accountant said I can do this, and I don't have to do that. And so yeah, so workplace and safety was my first massive fine.
Wow.
Okay.
And then I didn't know at the time, but they all networked together, and obviously they gave me a big fine, and then they passed it on to I forget it was, a tax man or something. And the next thing you know, I got a massive fine because I wasn't paying super, and yeah, it was a mess. But I was just doing everything I heard everyone else doing.
What at that point? Why not just go? This is just ridiculous. I'm being ganged up against. They're the man's against me. Why?
The internal story.
Yeah, like it would have been easy to buy into that negative story, and you see, there's proof. I'm not meant to push.
And look, I probably did for a little while.
Okay.
So I did get comfortable for a little while. I downsized the team, but I never, like, I was making. I didn't realize at the time, and if I had realized at the time, I probably would have just stayed a carpenter. But I was making great money.
Okay.
So I've always, I haven't always been a good leader, and I know that now because I believe I'm a lot better leader now. But I've always managed to be able to delegate very well, get people organised very well, like motivate people to get shit done. And so even with those massive, so when I got those big fines, and like I'm talking a few $100,000 times a couple, I was like, for a little while, I was like, shit, I'm screwed. But then I was like, well, I just got to get more work done, pay those fines off, and figure out what I need to do properly, and not let it happen again.
Yeah. Sure.
And so that was probably a turning point for me, because so something I see happen a lot in our industry, a lot of my family members are bad for it still now. They don't listen to me, but a lot of people in our industry, everyone's their mate. So, my dad's mate's an accountant. Oh, my dad's mate's a lawyer. Oh, my dad's mate's a solicitor. Oh, my dad's mate can talk to you about super. Like, oh, my mate said, or I met this bloke at the pub. Like, everybody's a mate. And so at that point there, I learnt that doesn't get you anywhere. If you want to be successful, you've got to pay money to get in front of the right people. And so that was when I sort of broke away from just growing up and being told what accountants and stuff to work for, to actually reaching out. So I actually reached out to one of the big developers I was doing work for and just asked him some questions. Oh, mate, like, who do you think I should go to sort all my taxes and stuff out? And he was probably one of the first ones that said to me, Duayne, like, you've got to spend money to be with people that are where you want to be. Like, don't just go and work with a normal accountant. If you go to an accountant that's driving a shitbox car and you want to have a good car, like, you're going to listen to that accountant? Like, you want to go to an accountant that's driving the Lamborghini because, well, hopefully he knows what he's doing. He's not ripping people off. But you want to educate yourself on people. Like, you should never go and spend money with someone until you've done your homework on them and figured them out. And I'm massive on this now. And I think, even with what I'm doing now in socials and with my other businesses, like, the easiest way to explain it is, like, if you want to get fit, you're not going to go and work out with a 200 kilo overweight person, are you?
No.
Like, if you want to get trim and bulky, you want to go to someone that looks the way you want to look. So if you want to have a good business, you go and work with a good builder that's running a good business. If you want to be good at marketing, go and work with a good marketing company that's good at what they do. And the other thing that's been really important for me to learn is, don't think that one person can do it all. Like, don't go to an accountant or a financial broker and ask them to, like, take their legal advice as well. Like, go to the broker, go to the accountant, go to the solicitor. Like, spend money, because when you spend money on the right people, you get the right results.
What would have been for you, maybe on that point, some key people, whether it was an accountant or a mentor or that you've invested in, and you look back, you go, I would have invested. In hindsight, it's always easy, but I would invest more if I were to do that again.
You've got to find people that are experts in your industry.
Okay.
So for accountants, I don't think you can just go to any accountant. You have to go to one that understands tradies or understands building businesses. Same with lawyers. Like, don't just go to any lawyer, and definitely don't go to the, whatever they are, $99 tax return people. If you've got your own business, like, that might be fine if you're an employee.
Yeah.
But if you've got a business, you need someone. My advice to everyone now is, especially when it comes to accountants and lawyers, you want someone that sits down with you at least once a year and says, right, what's your 12-month, 3-year, 5-year, 10-year plan? What's your forecasted profits for the year? What's your forecasted turnover? Where do you want your team to be at? Like, you want to be building the picture with them so that they can guide you what you need to do for that journey. Because I've learnt those expensive lessons as well. Like, if you don't have people doing that, your accountant's going to set you up with a certain structure. And that structure might be fine for how you are right today. But what happens in 1 year or 2 years when you bust your ass, you grow your business, and then all of a sudden that structure's shit, you're not maximising your tax or minimising your tax and creating passive incomes and all those types of things. So my advice is to work with people that are on a similar journey to you. Like, they're pushing hard. They want to grow their business, because if they're growing their business, they're going to help you grow your business.
Yeah.
And just back on that too. So I've been quite lucky. So like Sharon, my accounts manager and contracts manager in my building business, I always get it right. I think this is her 19th year with us.
Wow. So
when I went through all the shit, I had a bookkeeper. The bookkeeper didn't understand it all, so they put me onto the friend of theirs, which was Sharon at the time. Like, so Sharon and Glenn, her husband, they were becoming accountants, and like, they now have their own chartered accounting business. Sharon loves working with us, so she still does 2 full days a week with us, plus a bit of part-time, as well as all their other clients. But so it's been really good. Like, I guess I've been lucky, because over the years, like, for a long time, I had Sharon saying to me, Duayne, you can't afford to buy that. You shouldn't be spending that. Like, okay, you need to increase your prices. Like, and so I had her there trying to give me the advice. And I feel like this is where I'm at now with a lot of people. Like, I feel like I'm putting all this stuff out there on my socials and I'm butting my head against a wall because people just don't get it. Mm. And I've been there. Like, so Sharon was telling me what I needed to hear.
Why do you think you weren't hearing it? Why was it not soaking in and causing change?
Well, 2 reasons. One is over time, Sharon learnt the way I thought, okay, and I learnt the way she thought, and we've worked together to develop systems and processes that have made our business incredibly financially sound. And so the communication is a massive thing. I believe, like, the persona of builders and tradies, like, we're very visual people. And it generally takes us multiple times being told the same thing, or possibly being told the same thing, but maybe 3 words change and it sounds all different to us. So you've got to have, even when I read an audible book, like, generally if I hear something that makes me click, I've got to go back and listen to it multiple times before it sinks in. So I think that's number one. Number 2 is, all my life, like, I'd been told, like, my boss, like, he'd mentioned in conversations margins and what he was making, getting my builder's license and my trade tickets. Like, there was all this conversation around margins, and like, for years the 10%'s been thrown around. Like, these days you hear a lot of people throwing 15% around. And then, like, you get your builder's ticket, you go into a business course, they throw around these 10 and 15% figures. And then even with the contracts that we use in the industry, a lot of them have default settings. So, like, most builders don't understand what their margins is. So a lot of them just go with the default, which I think there's a couple of contracts now that are up as high as 25%, but it's still just a default setting. So it made it really hard for me to understand what I was being told when everything the industry was putting in front of me was telling me different. And so I was like, the industry supports me. Like, why would they be telling me wrong? Like, they know this shit. They've been doing this for years, a lot longer than I have. So why wouldn't I believe them? And so in my mind, even at 10%, so for the first 5-6 years of my business, like, I would literally just work out the cost and put 10% on it. Like, I had no idea that it was costing me way more than that to run the business.
Wow.
So even though I had Sharon there saying, Duayne, like, that's not right. Like, you need to increase it, or you need to cut back on this. In my mind, I just thought, shit, $500,000 job, 10% on it, 50 grand, that's mine. Like we're turning over $6 million, $600,000. Shit, let's go. Like I just thought that was mine in my pocket. And that's what most of our industry works on. Like, and so, it took a lot of expensive lessons. And then again, like I touched on before, we've got to be more vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't until I bit my tongue and sat down with Sharon and started putting shit on paper and like, can you explain this to me? I don't get it. Like I don't understand it. Like how come if we're got a $500,000 job, we're putting 10% on it, like $50,000? Like why is that not in my bank?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and just doing all these, again, visual person, like physically drawing it out, putting numbers on paper and physically being able to see it. And Sharon sitting there and going, well, you know, like this shed's costing this much a month and like I cost this much and then stationery, like just like visually getting it. Like it sounds like teaching a child, but like sometimes we got to go back to that because a lot of our industry, that's what it takes to make it sink in.
Yeah. And I think often, and I've been in a similar position where it's like, just explain it to me really simply. What am I missing? And I find often whoever's the one explaining it, there's a lot of assumptions they're making because that's their world.
Yeah.
Like typically a builder explaining something to a client or a prospective client. Yeah, we'll just do this. What is that? What does that mean? What is that? You know? So that's
100%. Like that, you hit the nail on the head, and that's again where our industry really falls over. Because if you don't, and that's why I really push with our Live Like Build business, like you don't have to know everything, but you do need to have a little bit of an understanding about everything. Because if you don't know what that person on the other side of the desk is telling you is correct, or you don't understand it, like so many, like you hear it all the time, like it shits me. You hear it like like we're going to get them in another month's time, end of financial year. Spend this much money to reduce your tax or save tax or whatever. Like you have to have the money in the first place to spend.
And it has to be your money.
Money. Like it's just crazy, mate.
Yeah.
And again, this shit's all out over the radios. It's promoted. And if you don't know any different, all you're hearing is shit. If I spend 10 grand, I'm going to save 5. Like, let's go.
I used to think like the whole like writing off on tax was like that amount. Just take that off tax.
Yeah.
So if you got X amount of tax, I can go and spend that now for the business, and that's all gone.
Yeah.
And it's like I had a friend who is an accountant, and he's like, "What? No, mate. Where do you come on that?"
That's what happens.
Yeah. You just no one sat you down and explained it. You've picked it up, like you said, talking at Smoko, talking here. You know, a catchy thumbnail on a video or on a post where that's just the catch. You have to read the article. Yeah, there's plenty of that out there.
It's and look, so generally, like I see it a lot now. So like come the 6 months, the first 6 months after end of financial year seems like is just always hard for the industry because you have accountants that don't understand work in progress. So you have all these tradies and builders submitting all their financials and the accountant going, oh, you've had an awesome year. You've made $300,000. But they haven't taken into account that $296,000 of that $300,000 is for bills that are yet to come in. Like we get that quite a lot. Like builders reach out to me and like I had one guy in tears because his accountant had told him that he'd had this awesome year and he went and bought a van so he could tour with his family and like all this stuff. And literally 3 months later, like was broke because all the invoices had come in and he'd spent all the money. And so, look, we could go on all day about like there are so many parts of this industry that are broken because we need to start stepping up and understanding that you're not just a tradie, you're not just a builder, you're not just a designer, you're not just an architect. Like if you're running a business, you have responsibilities and you need to understand a little bit about everything.
When did you take that mindset from being like a trade, obviously running a building business? When did you have that transition to having the mindset of being a business owner?
Honestly, mate, I reckon it's only really clicked in the last 4 or 5 years.
True.
And up until then, it was just, like I said before, it was just go, go, go. If I wanted shit, I just pushed harder and I thought I had to make more money. And I'd say maybe 5 to 6 years ago, 2017, 18 maybe, so maybe 6, 7 years ago.
And what do you think is a sweet spot? Like, do you feel like people that are owning a building business, like, when do they make that? When would you say is it best to put that building, the business mindset?
The moment you get an ABN, you need to be thinking that you're a business. Like, it doesn't matter if you're qualified or who you are. Like, the moment you get an ABN, and this is the shit they should be teaching at school. Like, even for kids, like, I've been talking to my daughters about it. One of them's putting resumes out at the moment to get a first job. As soon as you get your ABN, you're a business.
Yeah.
You need to start switch, like, don't think of yourself as an employee. And that's the other big thing. Like, so this is where it does get tricky, because when I teach people in my training business about their financials and stuff, and again, I'm no expert in this, it's my personal opinion and just what I've learned. So you definitely need to get in the mindset that you're a business. But when it comes to understanding your numbers, you have to think of yourself as an employee, because everyone misses the part where you need to be paid for your role in the business. They just think they're the business owner, and so they just take what's left at the end of the day. But for a business to truly be successful, every single person in the business, including the company owner or director or whatever label you want to give yourself, has to be paid a salary. And so that ultimately a successful business is paying all your bills, paying all of your employees, including yourself, and the company still makes profit.
That's good.
Your pay as a business owner shouldn't be the company profit. The company profit is your cash flow.
Yeah.
That's where freedom is. Like, when you're paying yourself a salary for the role you play, I talk to hundreds and hundreds of traders and builders now that are earning less than what they're paying people that work for them. And I say to them, like, how does that work? Like, how can you even think that's that's right? And they're like, oh, but that's, my accountant said that's all I can afford to pay myself, or my accountant said that's all the business can afford, or that's all I have left at the end of the day. That's bullshit. Like, as a business, like, everyone in a business needs to be paid for their role, including the director, the owner, whatever you call yourself. And the company has to make profit on top of that. If that is not the case, you're trading insolvent and you should not be operating.
Sure. That's hard truth.
What were some key things that you put in place once things turned around? Because you made some with the pieces I've put together over the years of watching you. You made some big decisions about becoming the Duayne you wanted to become, and that involved a number of things: increasing margins, profit, running a better business, getting involved earlier, which is where your pack process comes into play. Taking off every holidays with your kids when they're on holidays. You're on holidays.
Yeah, it's not really happening at the moment, but
I was going to say, because the school holidays at the moment.
That's by choice. That's by choice.
Yeah, true.
I'm pushing hard. Like, this year, I'm really pushing hard.
Yeah,
it's good.
What was it that flicked that switch? Did that come later, or was that progress, or that decision to become a different Duayne because that's what the family needed, that's what DPS Constructions needed?
Look, I think we all go through cycles. I definitely got sucked in for a little while about this work-life balance rubbish. It's rubbish. Like, there's no such thing as work-life balance. Like, you cannot work minimal hours and be successful. Like, if you want to be successful, you've got to put in the effort.
Yeah.
But my thing with that is, now you've got to prioritize. Like, so I guess to answer your question, personal scheduling was probably the biggest thing that changed my life. Okay. So I schedule everything. Some people think it's madness, but I believe structure is freedom.
Like, what kind of stuff?
So my schedule, like, if I picked up my phone now and looked at my schedule, it's just a Google schedule, but I have everything in there. So I got teams in multiple businesses. So 5 a.m. in the morning. So my team put the calls I have to make. So every morning when I get up, I look at my phone. 5 a.m. in the morning, it's getting all these things come in there, and that's all the priority calls I need to make for that day. I've got in my calendar the time I want to wake up, the time I want to leave home, all my meetings for the day, calls I need to make, time I want to go to bed, the days I pick the kids up, the days I cook dinner, and that's 7 days a week. So personal scheduling has been an absolute game changer for me.
Did
because
you bring you had a VA help you with that, or you?
So I put a lot of stuff. So this gives you freedom. It gets all the shit out of your head.
Does,
So,
yeah.
so every time, if I'm on the phone to someone, like I was talking to you guys over the last few weeks about this podcast, there's no backwards and forwards. I can go to my calendar, say, righto, this is the time I've got. Let's lock it in there. If I'm on the phone with someone, I'll put it on speaker, look at my calendar. I can tell them on the phone call when I can meet them. Get off the phone, put it straight in the calendar. It's done deal. Send them a meeting invite. No more discussion. Don't have to think about it. Don't have to have it in here stressing about it. All of my different teams across multiple businesses, they can all see my calendar. So generally, the last thing I do each day, it could be when I first get home, it could be after dinner, or it could be after the kids are gone to bed. I go through my emails and accept all my meeting invites, and they're in there then. So they lock in all my meetings, whether it's Live Like Build phone calls, whether it's business client meetings, whatever. But the other big part of that is that I talk about a lot is a huge thing that changed the way I feel and what I do was I think of every day the same. So the way I explain it is we all get stuck in this horrible mentality that working is from Monday to Friday. So Sunday lunchtime, you start feeling down because we're back to work tomorrow. By Sunday night, you got the Monday blues on. Monday morning, you're dragging your feet around. Tuesday, you picked back up a little bit. Wednesday, it's halfway through the week, so you're sweet, halfway, let's go. Thursday is not too bad. By lunchtime Friday, you switched off because in your head you're thinking, it's the last day of the week. I'm on holiday, like I'm off for the weekend in another 3 hours. And then Saturday and Sunday is personal time. That is the most shit way to operate ever. So my wife and I treat every day the same. So we do a lot of work on Saturdays and Sundays, but we also make up for that with time off during the week. So for us, it's all about priorities, what means the most to us. So through the week, we work when we got to work. If the kids have got sport on or they're staying at a relative's house or whatever on a weekend, we don't mind smashing out 4 hours or even a full day on a Saturday or a Sunday because we'll get 3 days work done in that because no one else is calling and annoying us. But if we do that, that means that when the kids get home from school, we'll switch off. We'll take them out to see their horse. We'll play with them out in the yard. We'll go for a walk. So you've got to treat every day equally, but you've got to prioritise where you spend your time. Like you just don't work 7 days a week and work like a dog. Like you prioritise what you're spending your time on, and that's been a massive change for me because I get shit done when it's got to be done, and I focus on the family when it's time to focus on the family. So that's probably number one. Number one is the scheduling and the days of the week. Number two is it ties in with what we talked about, like getting the mindset that you're a business owner. You're not a builder, you're not a tradie, not an architect, not a designer. So for me, I'm not a builder, like I'm a business person. And it ties in with that it's okay to, like I don't need to know everything, but I just need to make sure everything's getting done. And so as a business owner, you like the special forces talk about, like if you're going out into a scenario where you're fighting a battle and you're all in one line, like you can't see what's going on. Like the leader's got to be back behind them and oversee everything, make sure everyone's safe, come up with ideas, tell them to go right, left, whatever. So as a business owner, you've got to take a step back. You've got to see what's happening here, there and everywhere and guide people, delegate. So that's been a massive one for me because I think a lot of tradies and builders, like I did, get caught in the weeds. Like you think you've got to be on site every day, swinging a hammer, picking up a nail gun.
Was that a hard transition for you?
Yeah, massive. Yeah, the tools is what we love. I love the banter. I love the music. I love just being on site. I love the sweat. I love the sun.
And the progress, the physical progress you see when it comes together. I've heard a lot of guys struggle with because that's where you put all your energy in for the first, say, 5-10 years of your career. Yeah. You're very competent. And so as a man, it's important to feel competent at something. And so then when you get pulled in the office, you're not seeing the progress. You're learning a lot of new things. You're failing and learning, and it's like, man, I just wish I could get back to site and just feel good at what I'm doing again.
Oh, mate, and there's just, honestly, if you haven't done it before, there's something magic about it. Like, in a carpentry gang, for example, like when you're on site and you've got, whether it's 2 or 3 guys or 10 guys, but when it's flowing, when every member of the team knows what's happening and it's just like a production line, everything's happening, people are having a dance and singing a song and giving it a bit of banter, like it's magic, mate. And then you get to the end of the day and you're like, cheer, like, awesome, mate. Like, this, look at what we've done. Like, this is unreal. Like, when you're
painting a pretty good picture, a pretty attractive picture.
Do you think we should go and get our
I think
apprentices started?
Yeah.
Mature age?
Yeah.
And so it's obviously a very different change of pace when you all of a sudden you're going from meeting to meeting, you're sitting in offices, you're sitting in front of a computer. Like, it drives me insane, but I know it's got to be done. So,
At what stage did you think, I want to teach other guys about this, and it wasn't just for yourself anymore? And what stage did you think, you know what, let's start Live Life Build?
Well, it started well before Live Life Build. So from 2013, that was when my journey of changing and coaching and mentoring and all that started. And look, I'd had a lot, like back then there was only a handful of them. Like at the moment, they're popping out of the woodwork everywhere. But I'd been called by all of them to get help and all this sort of stuff. And I guess I wasn't vulnerable enough to put my hand up and say I needed help. And as a bloke, I just thought I'd be able to sort it all out myself. I got on this journey, and that was after getting to the lowest of lows. Like literally everything I'd earned as a carpentry business, being very successful, like lost a lot of property, lost a lot of toys. Like I sold everything. Like the only person that lost was me. Like I paid every single bill. There's no one out there that can put their hand up and say that I own the money, because I've always been very proud to pay my bills. But
what happened at that stage to cause that?
So within 5 or 6 years of getting my builder's license, got my builder's license at 27, and by the time I was 34, I guess had nearly been broke 3 times. And the third time was like, if we hadn't been able to borrow money, like a large sum of money off a family member, like everything was gone. We just couldn't afford to pay our bills. Like literally the monthly bills that we owed for the month, like it just wasn't in the bank and it wasn't coming. So
and that was due to a few things, like not having the right margins on jobs and
not having the right margins, wrong team, not understanding overheads, picking the wrong clients, not charging variation. Like you name it, we were doing it wrong.
Okay.
And I was too proud to put my hand up. And like the other thing, I've talked about this a lot, like between 2010 and 2012, like we were constantly one of Brisbane's most awarded builders. Like 2010, I took out Rising Star Award. Like I was like, the industry was rewarding me. And again, that's like I touched on before, like I had Sharon telling me I needed to change things.
You got to change, yeah.
It's very hard to change things when you're talking to other builders, people are seeing the work you're doing, and like they just look at the flash jobs you're doing and think you're killing it. They look at the vehicle you drive and think you're killing it. They look at how big your team is, they think you're killing it. I know, well, I know from personal experience, but I also know now from the people that reach out to me, mate, I get reached out by some of the builders you see on Instagram that have tens of thousands, if not 60, 80,000 followers that are doing all the flash work. And I even look at myself and think, far out, man, they're doing awesome. And yet I'll get a message from them on Instagram, hey, Duayne, like this is going on, like, and we'll give them the call. And it's shit. They're in the same position I was in. So perception in our industry is huge. And reality is builders and trades aren't game enough to put their hand up and say they need help.
So you started on this journey.
So I got to a point where I was like, we'd just had our second child. We were about to lose everything. And mate, I was like I was gutted. Like,
Just on that, your second child, how much changes when you are just married, no kids, business owner, and then you become a dad and a business owner, and then a dad too, business owner, and what are some key things there that you've noticed?
Well, that was a big driver, mate, because I was like, mate, I've openly talked about, like, there were days, like, I still had my team running. Like, my team didn't know anything. They didn't know we're in the shit. We still paid all of our bills, and they probably don't realise to this day that we were literally a month away from losing everything. And, like, mate, there were days, like, it was easy for me to get up early, put on a face, go to site, tell everyone what they need to do, everything's rosy, jump in my truck and literally just, like, I would waste 10 hours a day some day. Like, I would just drive. I could go to Toowoomba, I'd go anywhere. No one knew where I was. If the phone rang, I'd just answer it. No one knew. I was lost, mate. Like, I'd literally pull up on the side of the road, I'd cry. Like, I could not figure out what the hell I was going to do except for drive off a cliff. And I just got to a point where I was like, I have 2 young kids, an incredible wife. Like, I've built up a good business. Like, it can't end like this. Like, I've got to sort this shit out. And yeah, that started a 3-year journey. And the reason I like to talk about this, I'm getting teary talking about it again, but I didn't have money to spend. Like, I couldn't pay my bills. And people give me the excuse all the time that they can't join up to Live Like Build, or they can't use our software or whatever. I had no money. Like, I could not pay the bills that were due that month, and yet I spent money I didn't have, and I reached out to get help. And from 2013 to 2016, mate, I tried probably half a dozen different coaches and mentors. I went to every association I could, industry body events, and everyone was just telling me the same shit. Like, need to know your numbers, need day overheads, but they didn't explain to me what they were or how to do it.
Yeah.
And the thing that frustrated me the most, like, I ended up with another guy, and he did teach me a little bit, but I was like, man, if this guy can't get me out of this shit, like, who no one is, I'm going to do this myself. And that's where it all started. So I've talked about this before. Like, if anything, I was with him for 6 months. He tells people I was with him for years. I can show the receipts if you want to see how long we paid him for. But if anything, he pushed me to do so. I couldn't use a computer, mate. My wife had put the laptop on my lap and I'd type away. And so I honestly, and this is how shit our industry is. I don't know if I've really ever talked about this, but our industry runs off wives and partners. If it wasn't for wives and partners behind the scenes, our industry would completely shut down.
So true.
And
I'd say it's more than just building industry.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's... Yeah.
And I would say 99.9% of them don't get paid. It's all free. They're all doing it on top of doing their day job or their regular job and looking after family,
and
cooking dinner.
Yeah.
And so all this training and coaching that I was trying to get, it was very blokey. Like, everything was blokes clubs and boardroom meetings, and just there was very little room for females, which I didn't like because my wife was even now, like, she's the powerhouse, mate. Like, I'm the face that everyone talks about, but honestly, I don't do half the shit that I'm doing without what she does behind the scenes. And so she would turn the computer on, and with all this coaching that I was getting, everything was blaming the client. So I was blaming the client. The industry is blaming the client. So everyone was like, it's the client's fault. Like, they're arseholes. They rip you off. They don't pay bills. And so I put together this seminar, which I called Build Your Knowledge Before You Build Your Dream. And my sister
aimed at who?
Homeowners.
Okay.
So we did that. The coach I was with at the time, I told him what I was doing. He thought it was fantastic. He ended up, I think he still actually uses that now in his training. We did that as a seminar. We did it at the Build Design Centre up in Brisbane. My sister's got a cafe. We did a few there. But we ended up doing about 6. We just put it out on our social media, invite clients along. And I thought the answer to all my problems was educating potential clients on what actually happens, how you sign a building contract, how the building works, how we price things. And we did about 5 or 6 of them. And while I was doing it,
what was the feedback on those?
They turned into the best marketing tool ever. Like our qualified leads skyrocketed. And again, we weren't running the right business, so we helped out a lot of them. But then I was like, I'm a fraud. Like, I'm standing up here doing these seminars and it's me. Like, I'm not the problem. I need to become a better builder. And so, and this is all over a period of like 3 or 4 months. So I was still with this builder's coach. And I said to him, it's not the clients, it's me. Like, us as builders, we need to become better. So I wrote another seminar called Rules of the Game, and we teamed up together. He had the network, I had the knowledge. We did seminars in Brisbane and Sydney, sold out. We split the profits, and I was quite naive about it. And then after it, we split up because I could just see that he was just using me as a builder, the one that knew everything, and he was getting a lot of attention about it. But I called it Rules of the Game because it's like a game of football. Like, if you send 2 teams onto a field and one team's never played before, it's going to be a shocking game. Like, who's going to watch? And so reality is 9 times out of 10, it's the client that knows the rules better than the builder does, because the client's jumped on Google, they've read the contracts, they've talked to lawyers, they understand all the clauses. And the builder is just too busy trying to stay afloat and run a business and make money that he's just signing every contract he can. And anyway, we did 2 or 3 of those, and this is where the big turning point started, because I was like, I'm a fraud again. Like, it's actually not the client, it's not me as a builder, it's me as a person. And that's when I got on this journey that if I'm not right, nothing else around me is right. Like, I need to work on myself.
In, like, your headspace, your actions, what you as a person, I think
everything. The stories was telling myself, my mindset, I was so closed-minded. Like I said, I was blaming everything was the client and the industry's fault. Like, and that's all you hear. Like, you still hear it now. Like, you go and talk to people, the industry's fucked. Like, this is shit. Yeah. You go and talk to other builders, they tell you to drink harder.
That's definitely something. Like, when I really took notice of the content you were putting out there was, I think I told you, it was like maybe started last year, started the year before. You put out a little video, started the year, and we're just so blunt about take responsibility. And it's not about crap clients, it's you. Yeah. And I was like, wow, someone who can give it straight. It's
not, mate, it honestly is, I'll go toe to toe with anyone that wants to keep blaming the industry and the clients. It's absolutely nothing to do with them. And that's why I'm on this mission now. So I got on this mission, I started. So from those seminars, we got reached out to a lot. And then my wife and I started, it was Quote Spec. So we actually sold our family home to develop a software business to help tradies and builders do all their quoting estimating. That's now been teamed up with some other partners. We're now full Australian. We've got our own developers here, and it's now called QuoteEaze. So the simplest, best software in the industry to do all your quoting estimating. And then actually through that software and what I was putting out on social media, started just sharing and collaborating a lot with Amelia Lee, the undercover architect. About? Mate, just through. So we had a marketing lady working for us at the time, and she just started showing me, hey, look, you should see the stuff that this lady's doing. It's fantastic. It's very much in line with what you talk about. And just like, so she was doing it, not me. Like, she was managing our social media, and so she would show me stuff, and I'd say, yeah, share it. So we basically just started sharing each other's content. And then I really sort of started keeping a closer eye on it, and I started telling people, hey, Amelia's one of the best tools you can have in your toolbox. Like, start sharing this stuff on socials, and I'd talk about it, and we ended up catching up because she was interested in our software that we'd built, wanted to see how it could help, possibly help homeowners. And yeah, we just clicked, mate. She got me into do a few series with a podcast with her. So yeah, we sort of it went like that for a couple of years, and then I just we're always talking about how we can change an industry, and one thing led to another, and it's actually just gone 4 years. So we started Live Like Build just over 4 years ago, and I guess the rest is history, mate. I think it's one of the most successful mentor and coaching programs in Australia. We've got hundreds of members across Australia and New Zealand, and we are definitely creating a new industry.
And what's been the most sort of satisfying thing for you about Level Up and what you've seen, the fruit of it, like in the industry?
So just over 2.5 years ago, then we started the Level Up podcast. So that's my personal brand. But, mate, looks, I get feedback from a lot of people in the industry feedback from people that know me or have met me or have been on my podcast, saying that when people hear that they've spoken to me or met me or whatever, am I genuine? And because I don't know why. Some people think I'm putting all this on, but mate, my wife and I have invested like well over $1 million now in doing everything we're doing that we haven't, like people don't see all the shit that goes on behind the scenes. You guys know you've started a business. Like 2.5 years or nearly 3 years of full-time podcast producing, paying a producer, marketing, advertising. Like it's literally hundreds and hundreds of thousands. Well, it's over $500,000 just in the podcast. But I am on a mission, mate. Like I am not doing this for the money. I'm doing it because I know how easily you can change. The reason I'm doing what I'm doing, the reason I put myself out there is I want people to see that it's nothing to do with the industry. It's nothing to do with being a good plumber, a good sparky, a good builder. You've got to work on yourself. We got to this old-fashioned hard man industry mentality off and realize that it's like you can still sit down and have a beer, but talk about what needs to be spoken about. Like talk about the fears you have. Put your hand up and say, hey, I don't understand my numbers. I don't understand how to run a business. I don't know how to run my team. Like it's okay. We're not taught this shit. Like you guys would know, like you get into business because you're passionate about doing that. So whether it's plumbing, it could be a chef, it could be anything. The business side of thing just comes along with it. And so like we touched on before, like you're not a chef, a bricklayer, or a builder. Like you're a business. And so to run a business, you've got to be a professional and you've got to be open-minded. Like I said before, like I would blame anybody and everything. I wouldn't listen to other people's opinions. I was just stuck in all the shit I'd seen for 15 years in the first 15 years in the industry. Like it's just shit. The drivers that I get that keep me going now, mate, is that I'm saving people's lives. The two that come straight to mind, I've talked about a lot. Like I've had a builder, like my phone ringing and ringing and ringing and not knowing, like my rule is I don't answer after 5, but when I answered it, I literally got a builder on the other end of the line just sobbing, telling me, mate, like if I hadn't come to your event a week ago, like I was pretty much had the rope in the truck. I was ready to go and neck myself. And the other one that always stands out to me is, and we've now had multiple wives reach out and say, I've got my husband back. So, mate, that's why I do it.
That's
like,
satisfying.
It's giving me goosebumps
I
now.
know,
Like,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Man.
it's not for the money. It's because, like, this is people. It's just an Aussie thing. Hey, like Aussies just are quick to kick everybody down. Like you go to the States and this sort of thing is just snowballing. Like people are supporting each other, they're helping each other, they're getting mentoring, coaching. Like everyone's all for it, like cheering. You come to Australia and everyone just wants to kick you to the gutter and think that you're in it for the money or that there's another agenda behind it.
Yeah,
mate. If we all get on the same page, like I am putting so much free content out there that it's not funny. Like, and that will change your life, but. Like, it's look. There's so many parts of this. Like, number one, we're going to change people, save people's lives. Number two, we're going to help reduce divorce rates and insolvencies and all that sort of shit. Like, number three, the clients. Like I'm a huge advocate. Our clients don't get what they deserve. And when a builder is on top of his own personal mindset and beliefs and stories, and then that flows through to him running a good business, and then he understands that he doesn't have to do what the industry tells him. He can build better than code. He can get paid for what he's worth. He can follow his passion, whether it's sustainability or passive home or whatever. Like, you don't have to do what the industry tells you. You can run your own race. It's better for everybody. Like, the whole economy, the whole of Australia will flourish if people understand that if they do a bit of work on themselves, it helps everybody. And I guess to move on from that, I just did a story on this on the weekend, which I'd never really taken the time out to think about, but my wife and my two girls, like, being in a position now, because I've put so much time, energy, money into myself, that I've been able to have businesses that are flourishing, that I can now, like my kids, I can help them reach their goals. Like, and that was always something that I was really, I don't know the words for, but I was always guilty, and that was always a bit of a driver. Like, I was working like a dog and like, I've seen it growing up with my old man. Like, I work my ass off so I can give you what you deserve to have. Like, working your ass off isn't the way, like, because you end up working your ass off and not spending any time with them. So you're actually doing a massive, like, disservice to everybody. Yeah. Whereas when you get on top of things, you understand yourself, you understand your business, and it flows through to great clients, flows through to great jobs, good cash flow, good profit. You can support your family as well. And so one of my big things is now I want to give millions of dollars away, mate. Like, I want to be in a position where money's no object. And like, I want to help disabled kids, because I believe people that are born with disabilities don't have choices. Everyone else does. And I want to be in a position where if I see someone struggling or someone reaches out to me, I can go, oh, no dramas, mate. I'll send my team around. We'll build you a disabled bathroom. We'll build a ramp on your house. Like, I want to help people.
Way more satisfaction comes from that than $1 in the account.
Yeah, 100%.
But in saying that, though, if you're running a good business, then you can have dollars in the account to do those cool things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you've got to be able to give money away.
Yeah.
Like, that was another thing that held me back a lot. There was always an excuse of like, oh, when I save this amount of money, I'll help that charity, or when I get my business achieves this, I'll do that. The reality is, if you can't give $1 away now, what makes you think you're going to be able to give it away when you get to the point that you think you're going to get to?
Inside Live Life Build, if we help our listeners understand, what is it that's different about Live Life Build? Because like you said, there's new, say, coaches out there popping up all the time. What is so unique about Live Life Build and I would say the community that you've created?
The community is just insane. There's no doubt about that.
Insane what? As an outsider? Insane?
Mate, I've never been to anything in this industry where you have, like, we had our first event for the year at Kingscliff, 7-8 weeks ago, over 100 people in the room, mate, and like literally no wankers, like hugging each other, tears, people sharing stories, like,
that's awesome.
No hierarchy, like. And so one of the best way I can describe Live Life Build is, like, it's at Kingscliff, mate, where we have a function. Like, we do business stuff, we have coaches and stuff that come in, but mate, people are there in boardies and pluggers. Like,
good on them.
It's not like there's no come along and like it's the best dressed or who looks the most professional. Like, it's just genuine people doing genuine things. But I think the difference between Live Life Build, mate, and anything else that I see, definitely in Australia, and especially in the building industry, we have everything you need, systems library, like all the stuff you need to run a great building business. But our focus is you. And so,
going back to the getting you right, getting you sorted, that's the focus. Really.
And I've seen it myself over the years. Like, I've spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars now in coaching and mentoring, still do. And like, so I work with people that want to know me first. Like, I learnt years ago when I started getting into this coaching sort of thing, the ones that I was going to that were just working on the business stuff wouldn't get me anywhere, because there was no mindset work, there was no culture work, there was no leadership work, there was none of that stuff that was helping me overcome the obstacles. And as you guys would probably know, like, all of our obstacles are us. Like, it's only us that tell us ourselves these stories, and it's only us that put these fake obstacles in front of us that we can't get over. So at Live Like Build, we help you understand that you're the obstacle. And so like right at the moment, like, we've got a mindset coach, we've got a leadership coach, we've got a breathwork and exercise coach. Like, it's a lot of personal. Like, so we're very holistic, because if you're right, everything around you's right. And if you're in the right mindset, you can spend the time on your business. If you're in the right mindset, you're working on yourself, you can spend more time with your family and work on your business. So it's a very personal approach.
That's cool.
Yeah. I think that would, and like you say, that resonates with certain people, and that's why you can put those guys in a room and there's no...
Oh, look, we're not going to get every single builder in Australia. Like, everyone's, like, that's something I'm really big on now, and I tell people that reach out, like, you have to find someone you connect with. If you can't sit down and have a genuine conversation with the person that you're trying to reach out to coach you or mentor you, there's not a hope in hell it's going to work. Like, you need someone that's genuine, that can actually have a conversation with you, that can connect with you on a personal level, and not just be the one that's sitting there saying, you need to do this.
When we come to understand, I feel like for a long time, you're changing my mindset on a few things, which I'm keen to jump further into with you. I've always thought, like, in the industry, there are these 1%ers, you know, and trying to understand what do they do differently? What are they? But the more I'm hearing you talk, it sounds like, no, it's just solving the first piece of the puzzle and being you. And that's you don't do that one time. You do that every day.
So when you say 1%ers, you like builders that do things well, or what?
So the guy, let's say someone comes through Live Life Build, they put everything in place, and they're now crushing it. They're good profit, consistency, workflow, team, culture, all that, in control, comfortable having the lifestyle that they want. The 1%ers, that's what I'd be referring to. But it does sound like it's more achievable.
It's definitely achievable. Not. It's achievable for everybody. If everybody's got to understand that it starts with them. But again, our industry is so false is probably the best word for it. Because like I said, you have thousands of builders out there on Instagram that have a lot of followers. They all do the flashy work. And so I think the reason, if we're talking about builders for a minute, not just tradies, builders tend to deal with big dollars. So even if you're doing $200,000 jobs, $500,000 jobs, whatever, $1 million jobs, it's a lot of money. So straight off the back, and like, it's a hard one, because if we say $500,000 and let's say the builder doesn't know anything and he's just doing what I did and throwing 10% on a job, it's $50,000. Even though he thinks he's making 50, but he's not really. So then the flip side of that is you get a client that might be doing that $500,000 job, and they think, $50,000, you're going to make $50,000 from my one job, and you're doing 5 jobs a year. So all of a sudden they have this perception that you're making a lot of money. And the other, like, everyone, I don't know if magnifies the word, but everyone around you makes your situation feel like you're doing the right thing. So even in the days when I was running a shit show, so let's say we were like, for the first 5-6 years, we were turning over anywhere from $5 to $8 million. So banks throw money at you, even though you're not making money. Like, on paper, it looks good. Your turnover's huge. So like, I was getting just, like, every time I went to the bank for a new truck, a new vehicle, a boat, a new house, like, they just wanted to keep giving me money. So that makes you think you're doing things right. Then on top of that, you have all those phone calls that, hey, we can get you, do you need any new work vehicles? We can finance you. Like, don't need anything. Like, just tell us what you want.
Yeah.
So everyone just has this perception. They see the work you're doing. They see the size of your team. They might ask you to flick them some work in progress numbers. Yeah. And again, they don't understand what's the overheads are, what's got to come out of that. So you got everyone around you throwing money at you. You got the industry with this perception that you're making 10 or 15%, not understanding what's actually that's running the business. You got homeowners thinking that you're making all that money because they don't understand that you're actually running a business. So there's all these things around you that on face value look like you're killing it. Mm-hmm. And then if you are a builder that keeps pushing through that, let's say, so there's a lot of builders that have a turnover between $2 and $4 million. So if you're turning over $2 to $4 million, you're like, the cash is coming in. And so you might not see it in your bank. You might have to be getting the next job to keep that cash flow going. But if you push through that, which a lot of people in the industry do for 10 years, 15 years, on face value, you can be very successful because you can use that cash flow to buy a couple of houses. You might be driving around a nice new truck or whatever. And so it's very hard to actually understand reality. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As long as the wheels keep turning,
as long
it can be perceived.
As
you yourself
well.
can perceive in a certain way.
Yeah.
That there's health there, there's fat there, when really there's just, it's all floating on top.
And then on top of that, you've got, like, so even in my worst day, so at that same time that we were like literally a month away from losing it all, I was getting asked to speak at industry events. I had suppliers in the industry taking me on overseas holidays because I'd spent so much money with them. Like you'd go to a trade show, or like they used to be called trade nights, like don't really have them anymore, but you'd go to a trade night and like you'd be the biggest spender for the month. So you'd get a bloody surfboard, or you'd get a $1,500 voucher to go on a holiday. Like, so like everyone around you is rewarding you. But like, and so I'm in this thing where like I was literally at some of these events and trying not to burst into tears and tell people what was going on, because I know the minute I get back to the office, I can't pay my bills and I've got no money coming in. And yet I'm at these functions, I'm on the phone to people and everyone thinks I'm killing it. So
it's crazy, like
and that is still happening right today to hundreds, if not thousands of builders.
Can you paint me a picture about what are some of the things that who's in that situation, yes, they've got to start working on themselves. And what are some of the key things that they can start doing to change that?
Well, number one, schedule.
Okay.
And like, don't go overboard with it, mate. Like, you can literally get it. I'll go back a bit and tell the story how my scheduling started.
Yeah.
My wife and I got to a point where we're like, stuff this. Like, we're not getting time together. We're not seeing the kids. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, something's going to break before we do. So we literally decided to get the Google Calendars. I had a few mates that were reaching out to me to go walking, and it wasn't really to get fit. It was just so we could catch up, and because we weren't seeing each other.
Yeah.
So the very first thing that ever went in my calendar was walking for an hour on a Tuesday morning at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
My wife wanted to start going Pilates. So she put in, she wanted to go to Pilates one day a week. I think it was a Thursday afternoon. I had to pick the kids up.
Yeah.
That was it. Mate, within a month, well, it was probably within 2 weeks, all of a sudden, if I had someone ringing me saying, hey, I want to meet you on a Tuesday morning, I would have to go, oh, shit, actually, I can't meet you on Tuesday morning until 9 o'clock. And I started seeing a shift in people, because all of a sudden I'm pushing back on people, and then I started valuing my time. Mm-hmm. Then it grew, so I went walking twice a week. My wife went to Pilates twice a week. Mm-hmm. Then my wife wanted me to pick the kids up, so I picked the kids up. So it started with like literally that simple, and it just kept growing. Like literally in the first by the end of 3 months, I had multiple personal sessions in there. My wife had personal sessions. I was picking the kids up from school, which I'd never done before. And we just saw the power of it and it just kept growing. Like, it's that simple. The next one is you've got to give yourself a pat on the back.
Okay.
Like
How often and for what?
No one's coming to save you. So I think reflection and gratitude are two of the biggest things that can change your life. And I never used to do it. I journal a lot.
When you journal, because that's something often I'll talk to some of our guys about. I struggle to sit down and journal.
Yeah.
I find doing maybe 3 gratitudes and 3, if I'm looking into the future, what would make tomorrow deemed a good day.
Yeah.
That's about the extent to which I struggle to write more, like to put, I don't know, thoughts or feelings. Maybe it still feels silly to put that on paper. So
Yeah.
I'll work on that. But what are you journaling?
So, mate, I have journals everywhere. I always have a journal with me. I've got journals in my truck. I have journals sitting on my desk. I have a journal beside my bed.
So it's not important for it all to be in one book.
No.
That's not the point of it.
Not for me. For me, it's about when you're thinking about it, get it out. And so I got this from, I call him Robert Kiyosaki, but Kiyosaki, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I listen to a lot of his stuff. I've been to a couple of his seminars, and he always bangs on about what the hand does, the mind follows. And that's just stuck with me, and I believe it so much. And I think it's probably, again, because I'm dyslexic or whatever, but for me, just getting it out frees my mind up. But the reason I've got journals everywhere is because I like to do it. If I jump into a truck after a meeting, I get it. I write it down. So my things can be everything, mate. They can be, it can just be something that I know I have to get done. It can be something that my wife or kids have told me. Quite often in the morning, if I'm writing my diary, they're very simple things. So, mate, it could literally be, I'm grateful to see the sun come up today. Like, I think that's one thing that we all just overlook. We think it's I guess we think it's just something that we're meant to expected, yeah. But it, like, literally every day that you wake up and you're breathing is a good day. So why aren't you grateful for that? So yeah, I keep it really simple. And then probably the biggest ones are the one when I do it overnight, and I don't do it all the time. I might do it 3 or 4 times a week.
Okay.
But the one that I have beside my bed or in my office, I write those things are written down as if I've already achieved it. Yeah. So I have so many properties. I earn so much money. I take my wife on so many date nights. Like all the things that I write them down as if I've already done them.
Yep.
Oh, yep.
And that is, I really get a lot out of going back. And so I date it every day. I write the day down, the date, and I get a lot out of now going back every few months and going, shit, yeah, done.
Wow.
Like,
that's epic.
It's great.
When we look at the, I'm gonna keep calling them the 1%ers. That's in my mind. That's what I call them. And that can be any business, any industry. But here we're talking about builders. What's the mindset? You know, I've dabbled talking about mindset on calls here and there. Like you mentioned, you listen to Robert's stuff, Grant's stuff, and probably an encyclopedia of other guys. What are some of the key mindset attributes of guys that you see start leveling it up?
Definitely that you can achieve anything. Like, believe in yourself. Don't expect. Like, I think that's a huge one. Like, you shouldn't expect anything. Like, don't ever do anything and expect something in return. Like, you do things because you want to do it. Don't blame people. Anything's achievable. Actually, the biggest one is there is always a solution. Like, that's huge. There's 2 hard-hitting ones. Like, I love Grant Cardone's nothing happens to you, everything happens because of you. Mm-hmm. I apply that to everything in my life. Like, everything that I feel is going pear-shaped, I just repeat it. Like, nothing happens to you, everything happens because of you. Like, why? What could I have done differently? What did I say? What did I do? How did it get to this? Like, I take full 100% ownership and responsibility for it.
Yeah.
And the other mindset thing is just being brutally honest with yourself. And I talk about this a lot, and I definitely do this regularly. And I for me, the best place, like I either do it while I'm sitting on the end of my bed or first thing in the morning when I go outside my dog. Like I ask myself, am I being the best boss or employer? Am I being the best husband? Am I being the best father? And I can honestly sit here and tell you that I've never answered yes. And I think anyone that answers yes is kidding themselves. And it's hard. Like some days it'll bring tears to your eyes, but like reality is, if you're sitting there and you can't, like you ask yourself, am I being the best husband? Like, don't kid yourself. Like I guarantee there is nobody out there that's being the best husband. But if you go, oh yeah, fucking oath I am. Like I take her on dates. Like,
Yeah.
Sorry, I swear, but I haven't heard you guys swear. But and like same with the father. Like if you're sitting there going, oh, I pick the kids up from school. Yeah, no, I'm a good dad. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Like there is always room for improvement, and so I just push. I push hard, and I'm like my wife will probably listen to this and argue with me about it, but like I let her down a lot. Like I'm supposed to cook a few nights a week, and I do it occasionally. I definitely don't do it as much as I should do it. And so that's actually one of my big focuses at the moment because I don't know what it is, but I just don't have an interest in it.
Yeah. and that does make it challenging.
Yeah.
If you're not interested in something,
yeah, but it's
harder.
really affecting my wife, and it pains me that it's affecting her because like for her, she sees it as like I'm not respecting her because it's like one thing that she just wants me to do.
Totally.
And so I really want to do it to make her feel better. And so I'm trying hard and I'm consciously thinking about it. But so I'm actually working with a coach at the moment to work through that because it's that important to me. Because again, like if I'm asking myself, can I be a better husband? Like I can because that's what she wants me to do. So
yeah, kind of. So when you're asking these questions, like, what did you say? Can I be a better boss? Or can
I be a better
boss?
employer? Can I be a better husband?
Yep.
Can I be a better father? Like,
and let's say you answer no. What do you do in that moment? Like, how do you kind of go, let's say, can I be a better husband? What do you do you have like a thing in place that you kind of go, cool, well, now I'm going to try and do this and this?
Well, I try and write in my journal. In your journal,
yep.
And it's always, like, let's face it, our partners are always dropping hints or something that they want us to do. And again, it's like, so the reason I focus so much on the personal stuff is because people don't realize that it doesn't just affect the business. Like it changes your relationship with your wife, with your kids, with everyone.
So
like you work on yourself, your whole life changes. And so a lot of the time, even with our kids and our partners, we're causing conflict because like it doesn't mean something to us or it doesn't interest us, but it interests them. And so we should respect that. And so that's an area of my life that I'm trying to get a lot better at. Like it's not just about what I want to do and like, yeah, just figuring out what does my wife want me to do better? What do my kids want to do more of? Like, and then, yeah, I basically write in my journal, like I need to take my kids on individual date nights. I need to, like my kids
How old are your kids?
11 and 14. 2 girls. So, and again, so that's been a tricky one for me because I'm a blokey bloke and my girls are, well, they're not girly girls, but they do girly stuff. And so I'm like, so I do a lot of shit that I don't put on social media. And I'm sure if I did, I'd get way more followers, but like, I don't mind going to the park or going a ride and just being a complete dick if it keeps, like, it interests my girls and we have fun with it. So I've been getting more comfortable with shit like that, like realizing that I don't have to be a blokey bloke all the time. Yeah. Like I literally sit in a chair like this multiple times and my girls will do my nails.
Yeah. Like, some good practice for them.
Yeah.
Like that. And look, I don't show that shit. Maybe I should, but to me, that's personal time.
Yeah. Yeah. So true.
That might soften the industry in regards to blokey bloke stuff.
That's good.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I got 2 girls. So
You
just
can
turned
relate.
5 the other day, and 2-year-old. So
mate, I actually got a heap of feedback on this on social media. I've always, like my wife, like that time of the month.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been in the mindset, like, it's part of life, like, just deal with it. And that's always got me into a lot of trouble. But,
no, Duayne, I don't know what you're talking about. That's on mine. I don't notice anything.
My 2 girls growing up and that, so I can't remember. I was listening to this podcast. I think it was a real Brad Lee one, and he had this lady on that had written this book. I think it's called Flow. Anyway, I looked up the book and I just listened to it, and it's definitely just completely changed. And like my wife and my girls were so proud that I'd taken some time out to read that. And so it's just like, man, that's like 6 years ago, man. That would never been on my radar, like whatever. But like we're a family and that's part of their life. And like I really need to put some time into understanding about all that shit so I can be a better husband, a better father to them when it is that time of month.
That's cool.
And how
That's
do you,
really cool.
Duayne, how do you do it when it comes to like the business side of things? So if you ask that question, can I be a better boss? How do you kind of then look at it that way?
I am constantly trying to work on the better employee one because I struggle with this one because I don't want my team to just look at me as a boss.
Yeah, of course.
But mate, I've always got lots of answers to that one. Like even like another big thing I tell myself all the time is you've got to slow down to go forward. And like so often I get to my job sites and just like you're there, you got a lot of shit to do, you're in, you're out. I still say good day and all that, but I'm always telling myself like I've got to slow down. I need to take the time out to like, yes, it might hold the job up for a minute, but I need to talk to the guys. I need to figure out, like, ask them, how's your weekend? How's your family? Like I'm a shocker for names. Like I don't remember names, but so one of the things I'm trying to work on this year is like be able to say to my team, hey, how's Emily or how's such, like trying to remember their kids' names. So I'm paying more attention to that sort of thing. But
on that topic, I don't know where I came across it, but to help with that, because with your team members, would you be texting them at any stage?
We have
chats
an app that we do all of our site communication with, yeah.
I found sometimes if I'm trying to remember someone's name and I want to learn their wife's name, their kids' names, I'll save it in their name on my phone as their first name. So it comes up as Duayne brackets wife and your kids' names. And so whenever you call, whenever I text, it's just like the same concept of putting the times table in the back of the bathroom door.
Yeah, I like it.
Repetitive.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that.
You're good.
but again, I think it's all those little things like that mean a lot to someone. Like if you, I know, I'm not sure why it is about names. Again, it's one of those stories I need to stop telling myself. I've just never been good at them. But like I know it means a lot to me when someone says, "Hey, how's Lottie going?" Like because it means they're paying attention.
Yeah, that's good.
That's but another big part of, I would say, what you've created, trying to find the right words, but I'd say there's you as an individual, and then there's Pearce Constructions, and there's Live Life Build, and then there's Level Up. Talk to me about Level Up and why put all the time, energy, and resources into that. What kickstarted it, and why do you keep doing it?
So look, Level Up definitely. So we had a guy, Shay. We put him on. He was just doing a lot of content and stuff for us, and he just was pushed me for, like, he kept saying to me, "Oh, we really should try this podcast thing. Like, they're going taking off." And I really didn't think a lot of it because at that point I wasn't even really listening to them. And so he set it up in the shed and we scheduled some time and we just started doing it. And I think in June it'll be 3 years. So
wow.
like across all platforms, we're just about to hit 350,000 listeners.
Epic. Well done.
So it's gone really well. But it only took about 3 or 4 months, mate, and I almost became addicted to it because we have no agenda. We get so many guests on that say, hey, can you send us a list of questions or whatever? And we're like, no, we don't do that. Like,
Yeah.
So for me, I actually grow and get a lot out of it just by listening and helping people tell their stories.
Yeah.
And I think it's with everything that I'm trying to do. So from that, once it started getting a bit of traction, we're like, shit, we need to brand this. So we worked with a branding company. We come up with the name Level Up because we want to level the industry up.
Yeah.
And then that grew into, let's make Duayne Pearce a personal brand. And it's just kept growing and growing. All of that's come through just me putting myself out there on Instagram.
Yep.
And now I just, like I said, mate, it's addictive. Like I just love being able to help people. Like if someone like me can put myself out there and just share a bit of, like there's a lot of stuff I don't share, but if I can just share the things that I'm comfortable sharing, like people don't need to see my wealth and a lot of my personal stuff. There's a lot of shit I do that I don't show. I don't think that's anyone's business. I think if I showed more of that stuff, I would get more followers, but I'm not about getting more followers. I want to get genuine people. But I'm just so addicted to it now. Like I just absolutely love that someone that's been through all the shit that I've been through, worked my way out the other side, can now share my story with other people, and that's changing their lives. And I'll continue to keep putting my opinions and telling my story out there if I can continue to help people. So, I just think I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's great content. So thank you for bringing it to the industry.
Cheers. I think the big thing is, like, I've talked about it a lot. Like I used to always, every time I was like through my apprenticeship, starting my own carpentry business, like even starting my building business, like I always just used to think to myself, there's got to be a better way. Like surely it's not this hard. Like surely other people aren't dealing with all this shit. And even when I'd reach out, like I've talked about this a lot, like I would go to hardwares and I'd see a builder I didn't know and have a chat, and especially older guys, like I'd always try and talk to older guys. And mate, it was just the same response all the time. Drink a cup of concrete, or fuck mate, that's the way it is, harden up. And that was like, so I was putting myself out there, being a bit vulnerable, asking for help, and that's the response I was getting. And I just, like the thing that really cemented it for me, so I would get on these missions and say I was going to change an industry or change something, and I'd just ramp things up, and then I'd take too much notice of what people were saying. Like even family members and shit would say to me, Duayne, why are you wasting all your time? Like you're never going to change an industry. Like who cares? Like just whatever, deal with it. And then I'd slacken off and get comfortable. And the thing that really cemented it in stone for me was the first 10X Growth Conference, Grant Cadone. My wife and I went over to Vegas in 2020, just before COVID. And it was just 4 insane days of incredible guest speakers. And it was literally, the speakers were just telling their story.
Yeah,
like literally there was nothing special. All they were doing was telling the story of where they come from to where they are now. And I got so much out of that. But Grant, on one of the days, second or third day, Grant was finishing the day up, and he was just banging on about stop trying to change things. Like if what you're doing doesn't feel right, or you think there's a better way, like don't change it, create your own. And literally I come back from that trip to the States, like I filled a journal, 1.5 journals I filled in that 4 days, taking notes. And I, like on the plane on the way home, I was just literally just reading through and taking notes and writing shit down. And I was like, I'm going to change the industry. I'm not changing anymore. I'm going to create a new one. And that's where it all started.
I like that.
That's cool.
And look, I think, the associations, industry bodies, they'll always have their place. Like I'm not interested in contracts and legals and insurance and all that other crap. Like that's just things that our industry has to have. But I'm definitely on a mission to to shake things up. And I truly believe that Live Life Build will be the breakaway. Like I don't like the word association, but I definitely believe in the next 5 years, Live Life Build will be the go-to for builders that are on a mission to create this new industry. And I believe with what I'm doing with Level Up that, I just have no doubt in my mind now that Level Up, my podcast, these events that I'm starting to do will change the industry. Like people will start, like we're already seeing people getting behind it. And my biggest fear is, like, I don't want people to get left behind, but we've got to crack through that blokey thing.
What have you found so far to help with that?
Look.
Well, what are you doing to
the proof's in the
break through
pudding? Like we've got so many Live Life Build members out there that are spreading the word, and I got a lot of people. Like my follow, like I don't have a massive following on Instagram, but it is so engaged and so genuine, and that's why a lot of people are wanting to team up with me to do stuff, because my audience is tradies and builders. Like that's simple.
Yeah.
I don't have 20,000 followers and 18,000 of them are just random people.
Counts, yeah.
So I'm not sure, but we really need to get rid of that blokey bloke thing. We need to it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to put your hand up and say that you don't know things, and it's okay to work. Like I've realised, because I was a guy, like I was, even before I had all this change, like even growing up, I remember my parents taking me to some seminars and shit, and like you'd walk out and go, oh fuck, it's all right for them. Like they've had the money, they had rich parents, or like there's all these excuses.
Yeah.
And something that I've come to, like, people don't believe in things because they think it's too easy.
Right.
And you guys may have been in this situation before, but like you can be listening to someone on stage and they can be telling you what you need to do. And
if they make it sound too easy.
They make it sound too easy.
Yeah.
And you literally convince yourself that it's not going to work because it sounds too easy. And like literally that's what I get from people now. And like, if it's that easy, like just do it. Like that, it is honestly that easy. Like it's not rocket science. But I just think it's so entrenched in us. Like people, actually, you asked before what some of the things people can do. The best thing that anybody can do is just completely turn off the radio, and take notice of any sort of media, news, social media, radio.
I'm glad you raised that. When did that epiphany arrive for you? Turn off radio, turn off mass media, the news, because we've got people in our lives that. Not so much these days, but they used to just.
Used to be.
You walk in the house, the news was on.
Yeah.
And at one stage, they were staying with me, and I had removed the TV cable. It didn't exist in my house. I threw it away, and I came home and I was like, it was like Channel 7 News, and I hadn't heard that voice and that tone for like 4 or 5 years, and I was like, what is that? And they're like, yeah, we noticed you didn't have a cable, so we got you one. I was like, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was that?
Mate, I'm hearing you. My mother-in-law moved in 4 months ago, and we don't watch any of that shit. And now every day I walk in the kitchen and I hear the news and I just like zone out. I don't know. It's years.
Okay.
And again, that was a big one for me because
maybe explain to the listeners why, in your words, why it's not good to listen to that stuff.
Because they're just repeating the same shit over and over again. Like, how do we all learn? Repetition. And so if you're listening to the same radio report on the radio every half, like you go to work, you're jamming it out with the team and you got a radio station on, every single half hour you are hearing the same shit. And let's face it, none of it's decent. And so you just learn what the world wants you to hear. Mm-hmm. The best thing I've ever done, my wife was probably on doing this before she got me into it, but we've been on that bandwagon for a long time now. But we don't watch any news in our house. We don't. I don't in my vehicle. The radio is never on. It might be. Well, I shouldn't say that. It might be on the weekend or something. Triple M if the footy or working the yard or whatever. But never morning time when you hear all that shit on the morning radio. Never the afternoon. I don't subscribe or listen to any of the news type feeds on social media. Look, my personal opinion is all that shit's got an agenda. and I don't want to be a part of it. So I'm running my own race. I fill my head with
That's
the knowledge that I want in my head, not with the shit that someone else is trying to tell me.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that, and very similar. Although sometimes I do cop a bit from family members like, "Oh, you don't care what's going on over in Israel," or
yeah. I get that too.
yeah. It's like, why?
I just think it's the best way to live. Like I find it really. It's like people don't have a life or something. Like they got to rely on that. Like you go to functions, and the only conversation that's going on at a table is the shit that's been getting talked about in the news. And like people will be talking, and I was like, sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what, you haven't seen this? I was like,
yeah.
It means nothing to me. Yes, I care that there might be wars going on. I care that people are getting injured, but I can't do anything about it. And so my focus is my wife and my kids and what's getting us to the next level. So filling my brain with all that shit is not going to help me improve.
Yeah. So true.
I'd probably say also to that point there, when you said there's nothing you can do about it, there probably is, but there's enough, you're helping enough people here.
Yeah.
And so you'd be spreading yourself thin if you try to also then tackle that.
Yeah, but it's really, for me anyway, it's not that I don't care about any of that stuff. That stuff will always happen because the world's got an agenda and there's a reason for everything. There's an incredible book called The Creature from Jekyll Island. I won't bore you with what it's about, but go and check it out.
Jekyll Island. I've heard.
What's it called?
The Creature from Jekyll Island.
Who was it written by? Author? Old book.
It's a very old book. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check that out.
It's a man and his alter ego?
No. It's basically based on the 5 families that run the world, and goes back to a secret meeting that took place in like 8 or 12 or something. Wow. But it is an eye opener. Like let me tell you, to think that there was so many things put in place over 100 years ago that are still happening now. And the clincher for me was that the latest version of that book was, I think, published in 2018, and they talk about COVID.
Yeah.
So you tell me.
Yeah. If I have, of late, I've once or twice been down a rabbit hole in that space. Yeah. And I saw somewhere a list of like all the invasions that a certain country had taken or done, and then next to it was like the real reason. Yeah. And I was like,
well, that's pretty much what this book.
Holy moly! Yeah.
It goes through all that stuff, and look, it's definitely a rabbit hole. I don't get, I guess, sucked into any of it. I just, for my own education, I just find it very interesting. And for me, that's what sets in stone why it's so important for me to run my own race.
Yeah.
That's good.
Man, there's the whole time we're chatting, my mind is just firing with like other rabbit holes.
I'm not in a rush. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, I'm like wanting to jump down things, and I'm like, oh wait, if we go down that way, it's going to steer us away. But
go for it.
Let's talk about marketing. Wasn't even at all on any list or agenda that I wrote down. But we're hugely passionate about marketing. We're hugely passionate about stories. You know that. What someone who, from an outsider, Pearce Constructions, your construction company is doing well, and you're teaching a lot of what you've learnt and put in place. When it comes to marketing, what has been what do you do that has worked well, that you've seen fruit from? Talk me through about your perspective on marketing and how you approach that. The reason I ask is because I'm keen to get a really objective opinion. Yeah. I mean, we don't do your marketing, so.
Look, I think marketing is all about sharing your story, which you guys do very well. And that's the reason I've asked you to be at my event, because it ties in really well with one of our guest presenters that is talking about the stories you tell yourself. I think marketing. Look, my building business has never ever had a problem attracting clients and getting work. I only have two opinions on why people are busy. The first one is, which is the one that everybody thinks hopes it is, that they do quality work and people want them to do their jobs. But reality is, it's 9 times out of 10, it's the other one is they're too cheap. Like if you're busy, and this is most traders and builders you talk to, they're just flat out, can't keep up, and they think they're brilliant because they got so much work on. But I know from the ones that reach out to me, as soon as I have a conversation with them about their numbers, they have this horrible heart attack moment where they realise they're not charging enough, and that's why they're too busy. So marketing, by telling your story, I believe it's all about personal connections. You need to be working with people that believe in what it is that you're going to deliver them. And when you attract those types of clients, that's when doesn't mean you rip people off. That is when you charge people what it takes to run your business. And I think it's very important for people to make it a personal connection and tell their story very well, because let's face it, everything in our industry, and most industries, I would say, is based on price. And so using builders as an example. So if you have two builders, I tell this story a bit. Like if you say you're a client and you call up two builders, and you might call them up, say, hey, it's Joe Blow here, just wanting a price on a house. Are you a builder? And yep, I'm a builder. You call the next guy and yep, I'm a builder as well. Like if they're both telling you they're builders, what separates them? What's the one thing that
price?
The only thing that separates them is the price on the bottom of a piece of paper. Whereas if you call two builders up and one's like, yeah, no, I'm a builder. Yeah, well, I can do that. But you call the other guy and he's like, he knows what he believes in, and it could be anything. He could be, look, I'm a family-run business. We build family homes, or it could be
you're transforming lives through transforming homes. And
I'm really passionate about healthy homes. We're a healthy home expert. We believe that by building people's healthy homes, we're changing their life. Straight away, you've separated yourself, and you've caught the client because all of a sudden you've told them something about what you're going to deliver and what you're going to do, and let's say it's healthy homes, and that person's never heard of healthy homes. All of a sudden, you've sparked an interest, and they're like, "Oh, right, actually, I've never heard about healthy homes. Tell me more." Straight away, you've pushed the other guy aside, and you've got the front row seat to educate that client on what your business does. So that's why price is the most stupid thing that people can pick a builder or a trade based on. And that's a whole other rabbit hole, because every business is different. Everyone has different overheads. Comparing apples for apples in the building industry is, honestly, it's impossible. So a choice should always be made on the personal connection. So yeah, I believe we do our marketing very well because we create a personal connection and we tell lots of stories. We do a lot of video on our sites. It's not all the nice
flashy,
polished, fluffed up pillows and all that sort of stuff. Personally, I believe builders that are only showing that stuff are setting themselves up for disaster, because a potential client that only ever sees that polished stuff believes that's how, they believe their job's going to run perfectly. There's no issues. The site's perfect. There's never going to be any variations, because you've set an expectation that everything's perfect. If you're showing videos and content during the process and talking about how you run your jobs, what your job sites look like, a possible problem you might have. We did a video a couple of weeks ago with all this rain around on a retaining wall we're building and what we're doing about it. I think it's just about to hit 170,000 views.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
I noticed that on the one you did on those, it's like from a while back, those prefab.
the CLT stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you were talking about how the truck was supposed to arrive at missed its curfew, and then a good example of. And at first I was like, "That's very honest," about this. Like it could be interpreted as not running the job But the more you kept educating, you're like, oh no, you've mitigated for that, you've allowed for that, and so it was just end up being a really educational piece.
So, mate, that's all I do. I just tell people there's no bullshit. I just tell people what's happening, and our clients are qualified before we get to them. Like they watch our stuff, they know what we do. It blows my mind how many meetings I go to. So we've got an inquiry system and a process that they get vetted pretty well.
Yeah.
But if they make it through our system and they get to have a meeting with me, the amount of people, mate, that hug me, pat me on the back, like say, "Oh, Duayne, it's fine. You don't have to sell yourself. We've been following you." So the longest one we've
That's
had,
the ultimate.
The longest one we've had a client tell us they've followed us for 4 years.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So you never know how long someone's watching.
That's right.
And look, let's face it, trust in our industry is non-existent. So
I feel like you say it's non-existent, but I'd say it's also one of the most important things.
it's the most important thing. So by you putting your like videos and stuff out on social media, like you're building that trust with clients. So we like so many builders reach out to me and go, "Oh man, like why'd you talk about that contract stuff with the wet weather?" It's like, because that's what happened.
Yeah.
Like I'm not hiding anything.
Yeah.
And so we've got one client at the moment. So we've been doing a fair few videos the last few weeks with all the wet weather we've been having, just telling it how it is. And I've actually had a few builders reach out to me and go, "Man, like, why do you put that out there? Like, your clients are going to see that. Aren't they going to be freaking out about variations and costs and stuff?" And reality is, like, our job that is the most delayed from wet weather at the moment has used up all of its wet days, and there is time extensions and some delay costs involved. The client keeps ringing me and telling me, like, we at a weekly site visit last Thursday, actually said to me, "Duayne, your videos are so good. Like, I know you guys send me all the emails and you're keeping us updated, but every time I watch your video, I know exactly what's happening on my job, and like, it's awesome because I'm a busy person." And I
That's a whole new perspective.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
So why do you think that's so powerful? Like putting that out, you're being like vulnerable. You're being authentic. You're putting this thing out that could potentially people say, "Oh no, but you can't put that out. That's not good marketing."
Mate, I just like, why hide anything?
100%.
Like all I'm doing is putting out there exactly what is happening on our jobs. Mate, I get comments like I had one builder comment the other week telling me that I need to read my contracts and I don't understand them because I was talking about a time extension. He said, "You obviously don't understand your contracts as well as you think. You should just do a time extension for wet weather." And so I did another video and I put some smart ass heading like, "This is for all the keyboard warriors" or some shit like that.
Keyboard warriors.
And so it made me, I did step back. Well, it made my team step back. My accounts managers shit at pants and like, "Oh, you better just check that." So we did check the contract and we were right. Like the contract, well, we use Master Builder's contract, and in the contract it states that you can't do a time extension for wet weather until you've used up all your wet days. So I just did a video explaining that what I'd said was right, but I went into more detail about it.
Yep.
And I explained, because the thing with videos sometimes is, in my first video, I never mentioned that we used a Master Builder's contract and things. So some contracts may be a little bit different.
Keyboard warriors fill in the gaps with what suits their
what
argument.
suits them. But look, I ignore most of them, and I've definitely learnt that it doesn't matter what feedback you get, good or bad, it's all good.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I think, you've obviously already come to that conclusion. That's why you do it. But I think the fact that you can almost see what Duayne's up to on any given day on all these projects, it shows such an open, honest story. So for a client to then work with you one day, it's like you've already drilled that message and story into them for 4 years sometimes, that I'm going to get an open, honest story. When you tell me X, it's going to be X. Yeah. And you're so open and honest, and no doubt you would then walk them through the contract when they sign on, so they know that variations. So when they hear about it on the video, they're grateful as they're getting updated and educated. It's not the first time they've heard about that.
Yeah, well, I don't. Yeah, so I never do. Like, I am very, I guess. There's a bit of thought goes into when I post videos and things. Like, I would never talk about something in a video before the client's been informed about it, because I don't want them to see it for the first time on a video.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, we're very So we actually have a lot of jobs that we don't put anything on social. So one of the first part of our pack process, the very first part of our inquiry form we sign up to the pack process is a media form. So we make our clients, or we ask our clients, are you okay? Like, and if it's very rare, but if they haven't seen what we do, we'll show them and explain them why and how and what we do. And yeah, we've got private clients that don't want their job seen. So yeah, you've got to, like, I know there's a lot of bills out there that don't do that. Like I've done a few videos on that, and so many bills have reached out and gone, what? Like, I need to ask permission? I'm like, yeah, mate, like if you're talking about your job sites and what you're doing and addresses and stuff, you need to be getting permission from your clients.
Yeah.
How do you, for those sort of videos that you're doing on site each day, or on a project, updating on what's going on, trucks coming, we're now going to be doing this. Do you have systems and processes built in that allows you to do that? Because a lot of guys use the excuse, I don't have time. I don't have time to put my phone out and put that on. Or, but it is so important.
It's super important.
Their audience spend more time with them.
There is way more stuff I'd like to do videos on, but I don't. So because I value my time so much, content isn't one of my priorities. So I only do content if there's time to do it. Okay. So there is a lot of good stuff that just gets missed because, and we've tried it. Like, we've put full-time staff on to follow me around with the camera and film everything, but it's just too much. And then trying to find the time to edit that. Like, my long-term goal is I want a TV show. Like, I want a camera following me every single day so I can show exactly what happens, all the shit, the arguments, the finding solutions, the team not showing up on time, like concrete being late. Like, I want to show all of that. But I only do content if there's time to do it. Okay. And then a lot of the time, like most of the time, it's actually posted within 48 hours of me taking it. Or I do quite a lot of videos that if I'm leaving the site, I'll quickly do it in 2 or 3 minutes, and then it just sits on my phone. And we've got a huge library of stuff built up that the VA posts whenever we need to fill a spot. So.
Yeah, that's epic.
Because obviously, I mean, you've got the different businesses, so you've got content for the different ones. So from the building side of things, like do you post a lot on that?
Most of my posting,
Level Up and Live Like Build and so on.
So again, this all comes back to that scheduling and having structure. Structure is freedom. So many people think that I'm just flat out on social media. I reckon I would be lucky to spend. I would spend 15 to 30 minutes a day on social media. Like, I'm really not on there.
Yeah,
and that's you producing or consuming?
Everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the time that 30 minutes is I get sucked in and I spend 20 minutes too long.
That black hole, and you're like, what?
Yeah. But so most of all my businesses have at least one VA in them. And I just call them libraries. So we shoot a lot of content in bulk and we just put it in libraries, and then the VAs pull it together and schedule it.
Yeah.
So the stories you see on my, so most of the posting you see on my personal Instagram page is me posting, but you'll see it's pretty sporadic. Like, there might be 3 posts in an hour on a Saturday or Sunday, but then there might not be nothing for 2 days. So, but on the building business, Live Like Build, look, QuoteEaze we need to do more on. I am a bit slack on that one. They're all like batched. So seriously, people don't understand that the structure is freedom. Like, Live Like Build, we will schedule in a content creation day. Amelia or I will do, we'll get feedback from our members, or we'll have a list of a heap of touch points that people have been talking about a lot, and we'll literally smash out 50 videos in a day. And then that goes into our library, and then our team pull the content out of that. If you try and do it every day on a daily basis, it won't happen. And if it'll take you away from the important stuff that you should be doing. So my advice to people is you do it when you've got the time to do it, and don't think you have to do it and post it then and there. Like just start building that library up, and then build that library up. And if you are starting out and time's precious, like seriously, over 2 weeks, get 4 or 5 videos in a library, spend half an hour on a Saturday morning and schedule it. And then it can look like you're busy. But
It is fascinating you raise that, because every now and again I'll have a chat with a builder and we walk them through how we can help them create the content that they need and the stories, and they just can't fathom that it can or should be done that way. No, I need someone that I can call at a drop of a hat to come out and film me the concrete getting poured, or this getting done, or the whole idea of planning really well, because we can work with a client, plan really well, spend dawn till dusk with them, and capture everything really they need to put out there for 6 months. You know,
our team do a lot of our content for our building business. So on our site daily logs, we've educated them on why we need certain stuff. So that stuff's going in our library as well. So there's a way around everything. People, again, it's that mindset thing. Like I said before, like none of this is to do with knowing how to run a good business. It all starts with your mindset.
There's some people coming to mind that I interact with every now and again over the last couple of years, and they're still in the same position. What have you found in that scenario? I know that's very vague, but you've worked with a lot of guys. What's going on there?
Mate, I still get people like builders that back 2013, 16, when I was out with coaches, like I made some connections with other builders, and they're still, like, whatever that is, 9 years later, they're still in the same position they were. And they're reaching out to me now, like, and it's probably only the last 18 months or 12 months, I've just learnt to let it go.
I was going to say, what do you do there? Because you giving them time that's what you feel is the right thing to do, but you've given them plenty of time over the last 9 years and nothing's happened.
You can lead a horse to water, you can't make it a drink. And I think
what if they really want to change? Like,
if they really want to change,
they say they want to change, and they're articulating that they are frustrated.
It's all belief, mate. It is all belief. Like, I'm going to talk about belief a lot at my event on May 30, because I believe belief is like everything we've talked about today. Belief is what ties it all together. So, and the reason I believe so much in belief now is these days I do a lot of woo-woo shit. Like, you name it, I'll have a crack at it, and it's all working. And I'm not sure on the words of this, but I don't know if it's actually working or it's just that I believe in it, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
makes sense.
I created a video a few weeks ago and then one again today, just the concept of luck. And one guy who articulates the concept of luck just being, he's fought in Iraq, and he said the story he used there was the guys who would lose a limb, and one guy would say, "Man, I'm so unlucky for losing that limb, and now look at me, I've got this, live with this the rest of my life." The other guy would lose a limb and be like, "Man, how lucky am I? If that was at 2 inches to this way, I would be gone." And then obviously that for him that was like 15, 20 years ago. Yeah. And so seeing where those guys have ended up now in life, and he just says there that luck is a psychology. It's a mindset. And there's been studies that have shown if you believe that you are a lucky person, you will have more luck.
It's all belief. Like you've got to create your own luck. Like and just like I touched on before, with you go to seminars and you hear people talk about things and you think it can't work because it's so easy. It's like if you just believed in it, it would work. Like, belief is the number one thing we all need to do more of. We need to believe in ourselves. We need to believe in we need to believe in our businesses. Like, I talk like so many. I know one builder in particular that, I've probably known him for 6-7 years, And like, it's like I'm a broken record. And I just know now that when I see his number ring, I know it's going to be the same story. And I'm over repeating myself. And I don't, look, every single person on this planet is very different. But belief is something that we all need more of. And if we believed in ourselves, because that is literally the only difference. So it's like our pack process. Like, you either believe in it or you don't. The ones that don't, struggle with it, can't sell it, don't have any success with it. The ones that believe in it are kicking goals. They're adding $200,000 a year to their bottom line because they're charging for their proposals.
I like that you mentioned that, because that's something I'll talk to guys and I'm like, and I'll send them I found a really great one of Amelia Lee's audio files on one of her pages. They're talking about pack process. And it's like, just listen to this, even if it just gives you the vocabulary in which to have a discussion with an architect, so that they aren't hearing you coming and saying, oh, it's easy, we'll just change that, because you might rub someone up the wrong way. But yeah, there are some guys that just, oh yeah, I reached out to a couple of architects and they said nah, and so I just scrapped it.
Systems and processes are they're the easiest thing to change your life, but so the pack process is just a process. So it's like scheduling your time. It's a process. Like you guys would hear it all the time. Like, the number one excuse from people is they have no time. They just don't believe that they can control their time, but they actually can. Like, it's crazy, mate. Like that, the pack process, I hate the word game changer, but it is an absolute no-brainer.
For those listening to this that have never heard of that, can you walk us through what the pack process is and how it works?
So the pack process is paid as a consultant. Okay. So we developed a system in my building business for a long time. So back when I was with one of my builders coaches, he got on the bandwagon of charging for quotes, and I got right behind it. And then it was only for a matter of a couple of months, I was like, hang on a minute, this is just going to be something else that's going to give our industry a shit name, because builders are going to want to charge for a quote and they're going to provide the same shit, one page, no detail, and clients are just going to get frustrated. So we went away in our building business and just kept developing and working on that. And my wife had a huge amount to do with that, just from where she'd come from in a corporate background. And so we were charging for basically getting involved, going to meetings, and providing proposals. And then, when I teamed up with Amelia and we created Live Life Build, we just kept making it better and better and better. And now, until it evolved to the pack process, paid as a consultant. And so it's a system. So it's actually laid out. Like, we have a chart that lays every step of it out. And so it's very easy when you believe in it to sell it to a client, but it's even easier when you can actually lay that in front of a client and go, look, guys, actually, to take you from here, this initial meeting, to signing a building contract, we have to actually do all these steps here. And that takes a lot of time, money, and different consultants. And 9 times out of 10, as soon as a client understands that, they see value in it. So the process in my building business is just constantly evolving. Every single job we're getting better and better. And well, look, our fee changes depending on the job, but our average fee now is just under $11,000. And if you currently on our board, there's around 24 people going through that. So we've added over $300,000 to our bottom line just by charging for our preliminary process, which most builders are doing for free.
Yeah, sure.
So, and look, we've got builders that are just starting out with the pack process, charging same as I did. I started with $600, right up to some passive house guys there's a lot involved, charging in the mid to high 20s for their pack process.
Sure.
So
impressive.
It adds an enormous amount of value. Most builders, I know in my business, the fee we charge isn't covering the time involved. But man, if we've got a client that's going to pay us $10,000, $11,000, number one, we're going to commit to them. Number two, they're going to commit to us. So it changes the whole relationship. Totally. It changes the trust. Your clients treat you like a professional. It's the first step in really acting like a professional. So let's face it, where else, I was going to say, you go to a doctor or whatever, they charge you. There's a consultation fee. But like you see these days, even most, like a mechanic these days is charging you a $40 or an $80 or $100 fee to do an inspection.
Yeah.
Like, so
It's an expert, you know?
Yeah, you're going to see an expert to get a valued opinion. And why, like, now that I've done it for so many years, I just think it's so disrespectful that people would expect a professional to come out, because let's face it, most builders that aren't charging anything for their preliminary processes are running shit businesses, which means most of the meetings they're having are after hours or weekends. So how disrespectful is it that a client expects a tradesman or a builder to visit them outside of their normal working hours to talk to them about something that they want to do? Like, that's...
Yeah,
Doesn't
when you explain
sound
it
right.
like that...
It doesn't sound right.
Doesn't, yeah, totally. Not that I thought it sounded right earlier, but
It's been switched now.
Yeah.
what's just because I had a conversation this morning with a guy, just started his business, but he's very early on, so he's stuck in that stage of doing some decks, some pergolas, while also putting himself out as a carpenter for another builder. Do you get guys at that stage joining Live Life Build? And what do they put in place to start attracting, winning, getting better projects?
So look, it's something that really excites me, because in the last 12 months we've seen a massive influx of supervisors, carpenters, like people that aren't even builders yet, that are still getting their license joining Live Life Build, because they want to get everything in place so they can hit the ground running. Look, there's no doubt about it that starting a building business, the first 2 years is definitely challenging, because people want to see you got runs on the board. They want to see the quality of work you've done. They want to see that you've completed projects. So I get it. It's hard, but mate, there is so much stuff that you can share and you can put out there. So everyone's going to have some sort of photos of work they've done. Obviously, if it's work for a previous employer or something, you need to get permission to be able to use it. But there's absolutely nothing stopping you from taking a photo of a still, like, could be a joint in some timber that you've done that's really well. It could be a picture of a kitchen, a deck, or whatever. Like, you might not be doing building work, but you can still post a picture of a deck and the text can talk about the quality of your work and what you believe in.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there's any excuses. I think you've got to start somewhere. And the other thing is, which you do see a few people doing now, there's nothing stopping you sharing other people's stuff. Like, there's no reason you can't share someone else's stuff and go, oh, check out this incredible bloody passive house. Like, if you're thinking about passive house, reach out to us. Like, it doesn't always, like, you've got to start somewhere. Obviously, the more work you do yourself, the better it's going to make you look. But so many people, I think, use that as an excuse to not do anything. Like, reality is you've got to start somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so good.
That's good to hear.
Sorry, you had a question there.
No. That's. I mean, I gave him a list of what he can go away and start doing.
There's so much prelim stuff too, mate, that I don't think people post enough about. Like, I talk to the architects that we work with all the time. Like, I don't, like, to me, like, I do it a bit on my personal one, but and a building one occasionally. But, like, what's stopping people from doing a post or a story of a set of drawings with all the highlighters laid out and saying to people, hey, can't wait to get this job started, or hey, I'm just doing all the takeoffs on this project. It's part of our process. Like, there is so much stuff.
Do you find on that, this is just my opinion on it, so many builders, when it comes to all the work they put in pre-construction, and maybe it becomes from the negative side of just the way things have always been done in the industry, they really undervalue what they're doing in that. And they don't see why that's important to communicate.
Builders and tradies, and, well, this isn't just builders and tradies, this is every single person, and this is why, another reason why our industry is so backwards and people don't understand costs. When people think anything to do with, like, say, a plumber. So when people think plumber, they think pipes, kitchens, bathrooms, taps. They don't think that he's got an office where he has to do all the paperwork. When someone thinks builder, they see a house on a block of land or a renovation. They don't see that to make that happen, there's a whole other, like a building and trade, but like a building business, the best way that I can describe it is I believe a building business is two businesses. Like you actually have all the on-site stuff, which is pretty much one business, but then you have a whole other business over here on the other side that actually runs this one.
That's true.
So true.
And that one on the site cannot run successfully if the one...
So over 80% of the tasks it takes to run a successful building business are off-site. So when you talk to trade... And so another thing is, so with this old-fashioned mindset that our industry has, like you talk to the trades on site, they're the most important people in the world. Like this fucking place doesn't get built without us here. Like if we weren't here digging this hole, this house doesn't happen. They don't realise to dig that hole, there's been 12 to 18 months of administration work, planning, documents, approvals, pricing, scheduling, like ordering the materials, like to get to that point where they can start digging that hole.
And be told exactly where it needs to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if the people working in the industry, because let's face it, like that is what people see. Like all signage, like everything is the house. No one's showing photos of the office over here with the computers and the plans and the schedules and again, that's why I like to show. I do occasionally show videos of what's happening in the office, or I'll do occasionally I do
the engine room.
Yeah, the engine room. Like occasionally I do I don't know what I call them. I think I call them my daily diary. I randomly do a video and I talk about what I've done in the office for the day. But so I don't know. I hope throughout this podcast, like we've painted a bit of a picture of how disconnected all these parts and the mindsets that are behind it. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Because it's
disconnected, I would say, and you can't begin to bring them together successfully if you're not going to work, or if you can't get yourself right first.
Yeah. And I think the most important thing is if you don't understand all this, if you're still that tradie or builder that is slogging their ass out on site and blaming clients, blaming the world, blaming associations, you're going to really struggle to get to another level or to get yourself out of the situation. Like one thing I tell people all the time now, and I think this is a common one that a lot of people use, like if what you're doing now hasn't got you to where you want to be, like you are the only person that can make a difference.
Yeah.
So unless you do something, unless you get mentoring, unless you go to an event, unless you reach out to talk to someone, like you won't get out of that hole on your own. And I think because our industry is so old-fashioned and broken and blokey, people just for some reason think that something magical is going to happen and all of a sudden their situation is going to change and they're going to just have the business that they want to have. And reality is that's never going to happen.
That's why I'm very excited for the Level Up experience. And on what date is it? Can you give us a bit more information around that, Duayne?
Mate, look, it's huge. I'm shitting my pants because I've gone in the deep end. I believe it's going to be the greatest event the industry's ever seen. So it's a Level Up experience with Duayne Pearce. It's on the 30th of May in Brisbane. I'm doing something that the industry is not used to seeing. So from 8:30 in the morning to 5:30 in the afternoon, it's a full jam-packed day. We've got, I think it's at the moment, we've got over 16 guest speakers. We've got a couple of panel discussions. But people are used to going to things in the building industry and seeing new products and tools and that type of thing. Like, I'm going the next level with it. I want to put people in front of people that are experts in their field that can change the way they run their business. So, like, we've got Dr. Jo Lukens. Like, she's been the psychologist for the North Queensland Cowboys since they very first started. Works with the Queensland NRL team. Works with the Australian Defence Force. Like, she is the number one in the world at the stories you tell yourself and how that affects your life and how it affects your performance. So her presentation is just off the charts. We got Helen Rogerson, so she's a world-class leader in leadership and team culture. So the reason I'm bringing her along is because I want people to understand that so much of their business is created around their team. So her presentation's unbelievable. We got Rick Rushton, he's a Melbourne guy. He's all about the power of connection through communication and listening. And again,
so important.
I want people to realise like that is a key to running a great business. That's just a couple of them. Then on top of that, we got Matt Risinger coming from the States. So like the world's leader in building science. First time anyone's ever brought him to Australia. First time he's been to Australia. So like I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Like I'm not mucking around.
That's exciting, eh?
And then we also have Paula Baker-Laporte. So she's been, for the last 30 to 40 years, she's been the world's leader in healthy homes. She's actually been a force that has got the building code changed in America to build better homes. She's got some incredible books. So, and many, many more, but including yourselves, you guys are going to be talking about some marketing stuff. But the reason I've put this caliber of speakers together is not just, I don't want it to all be about building. So it's about personal development, it's about business development, it's about having belief in yourself. But then with having Matt and Paul there, it's about delivering our clients better products. Like Australia's not talking about building science and healthy homes. And it's something that every other country's been doing for the last 10, 15 years. So on top of that, it's combined with a trade expo. So from 12 o'clock to 5:30 in the afternoon, we've currently got over 60 of Australia's biggest suppliers. And then from 6 till 9, we've got food trucks, we've got live band, and we've got a mobile brewery coming. So again, the whole idea behind that is I want everyone to mingle and communicate, talk to each other, talk about the day, go and mingle with the guest speakers. Like it's going to be off the charts, but even the trade show part of it, like it's more like we've got one of our major sponsors is Off-Road Creative. Like they build the best canopies and four-wheel drive trucks in Australia. We've got excavator companies, machinery companies, vehicle companies. So it's everything that a tradie or a builder needs to operate. So it's going to be huge, mate.
It sounds like an epic day.
I can't wait.
I'll go away. I'm pumped, eh? Yeah. Good.
It's going to be good. I'm keen to see you guys there. You guys have been doing some interviewing and chatting to people on the day.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Good day.
Duayne, massive thank you for coming in and spending this time. I just glanced down at my watch and I didn't realise where the time had gone. So, but that's a good sign. So
no, it's all good, guys.
you.
I appreciate you having me down here, and I appreciate you coming along to support the event as well. So
it's going to be awesome. Thanks, Duayne.
Cheers, guys.